By 11:45, the 48th floor of Zenith Dynamics felt like the inside of a glass aquarium. Lights from downtown Seattle floated on the other side of the windows smeared by steady rain. The building hummed under Noah Cruz's feet, a low mechanical heartbeat through polished stone. His cart squeaked once every third step. It was the kind of noise that usually drove him crazy, but tonight his ears were tuned to something else. Lily. She was curled on the leather sofa in the executive conference room. He had just finished wiping down, lost inside his oversized navy hoodie. One knee stuck out from the hem, a sock with worn pink stripes already half off her foot. Her hair, dark and messy like his, fanned over the cushion. Every so often she made a soft sound in her sleep and reached for a blanket that was not there. Noah had draped his spare jacket over her. The building's climate control liked to pretend no one had blood or bones at midnight. "You owe me universe," he muttered, dragging the mop across a strip of floor until the marble shone like water. The babysitter had texted at 8:49, "Vomiting cannot come, so sorry." Every number Noah had scrolled through after that was a dead end. His sister in Tacoma, working a double neighbor, passed out on a night shift, Brooke declining his call before it finished ringing. Lily had clutched her stuffed otter and asked, "Can I just come with you, Dad? I promise I'll be quiet, quieter than the vacuum." He had looked at the custody summons on the kitchen counter, the bold black letters, hearing date. A judge who would listen when Brooke's lawyer said night janitor and unsafe hours and unstable environment. He had told Lily to grab her shoes. Now he pushed the cart past the glass wall of the conference room for one last check. She was still asleep, lips parted, cheeks flushed from the warmth of the room. He felt that same pinch in his chest he always felt watching her, a mix of awe and terror. Small people were breakable, and the world did not care. The elevator chimed behind him. It was a bright, polite sound made to reassure executives that the machine worked and that their rides would always arrive on time. At this hour on this floor, it sounded wrong. Noah froze one hand on the cart handle. His first thought was security. His badge only worked because his shift ran until 1. No one else was supposed to be up here. The doors slid open. A woman stepped out of the elevator, and for a second the floor felt even colder under Noah's boots. He had seen Ava Sterling before. Everyone at Zenith had, even if she rarely appeared in person during the night shift. Her face was on the lobby wall in tech magazines by the breakroom coffee machine, in the slideshow that played before all-hands meetings. In photos, she looked sharp and remote, like a mountain made of glass. In person, just past midnight, under the recessed lights of the executive floor, she looked sharper. She wore a black suit that fit like it had been built on her white blouse, closed at the throat. Her dark hair was pulled back in a knot so tight he wondered if it hurt. The heels of her shoes clicked once, twice on the marble, then stopped. Her eyes took in Noah, the cart, the bucket, the mop. Then they slid past him to the conference room and the small sleeping shape on the sofa. The tiny movement in her jaw was the only sign she had seen Lily. Her expression did not change. If anything, it became emptier. Noah's throat went tight. He moved without thinking, stepping between Ava and the glass, as if he could somehow make an entire child invisible by standing in the way. "Miss Sterling, I can explain," he started. She did not raise her voice. She did not have to. "You brought a child into my building," she said, each word precise. "At this hour, on this floor." Rain whispered against the windows. Somewhere down on the street a siren wailed and faded. "I had no one else," Noah said. His tongue felt heavy. "The sitter canceled. Her mom was not available. I could not miss my shift." "You brought her into the executive conference room." Ava's gaze flicked over his shoulder again. "To sleep on $5,000 leather. It was just for tonight. I swear, she will stay out of the way." Ava looked at him as if weighing something he could not see. "Conference room," she said. "Now." Noah swallowed. "She's asleep. Then do not wake her." She walked past him, the clean scent of her shampoo cutting through the chemical bite of floor cleaner. She did not glance at the cart or the bucket. The elevator doors closed quietly behind her. He checked Lily once more, tucked the jacket under her chin, then followed Ava into the conference room. Inside, the room felt different with her in it. The table stretched between them like a small runway of gleaming wood. The far wall was all glass, offering a straight-shot view of downtown, the Ferris wheel lights on the waterfront blurred by rain. Reflections of the room floated on the window, pale ghosts layered over the city. Ava stood near the glass with her hands in her pockets, shoulders rigid. "What is your name?" she asked without turning. "Noah Cruz." "How long have you worked here, Mr. Cruz?" 3 years, night crew." "Have you ever brought her here before?" "No, never," he hesitated. "I know it is against policy." "It is," she said. "Very much." He waited for the words terminate and effective immediately. Instead, she turned, finally facing him fully. Up close, he could see the faint shadows under her eyes, the hint of pale skin where lipstick had worn off the center of her lower lip, as if she had been chewing it. "How much do you love your daughter?" she asked. The question hit him harder than any accusation. He actually stepped back. "I do not understand." "It is not complicated, Mr. Cruz." Her gaze was level, unsettling. "How much do you love her?" He looked past her to the blurred outline of Lily's small body through the glass wall, a little hoodie on too big furniture, the only thing in his life that felt like it had any color. "She is everything," he said quietly. "I would do anything for her." Anything. Ava tasted the word like she was checking it for cracks. "Yes." "Would you lie?" she asked. "To strangers? To a judge? To a board of directors? Would you let them believe something that is not true if it meant keeping her?" His pulse thudded in his ears. The yellow courtroom walls from last week's appointment flashed in his mind, the board clerk, the calendar on the wall, with his hearing date circled in red pen, Brooks' lawyer with his smooth voice. "Yes," Noah said. His voice came out hoarse. "If it kept her with me, yes." For the first time, something shifted in Ava's face. The hard, sleek surface cracked enough for him to see something raw underneath. Fear. Not for him, he realized. For herself. She took a slow breath. "In the next few minutes, I'm going to make you an offer," she said. "If you say no, you leave this building tonight and you do not come back. Security escorts you out. Your file says termination for cause. I assume that will not help your custody case." Noah did not answer. He did not have to. The panic in his chest said enough. "If you say yes," Ava continued, "both of our lives change. There will be no undoing it." "What are you asking me to do?" She stepped closer to the table. The tablet lying there buzzed once, screen flashing with an incoming call, Daniel Kincaid. Her jaw tightened. She pressed decline without breaking eye contact. "I need you," Ava said, "to pretend to be my husband." For a full second, Noah thought he had misheard her. The hum of the air conditioning, the distant storm, the blood in his ears tangled together. "You're what?" "My husband," she repeated. "Starting tomorrow morning, every person who matters in this company, and outside of it, every board member, investor, possibly a judge, will believe that you and I are married, have been married for several weeks, that you and your daughter live with me, that we are a family." His mouth went dry. "Why me?" he asked. The words scraped their way out. "You do not even know me. You caught me breaking policy." "You have what I need," Ava said. "You have a child, a family on paper. You have something to lose as badly as I do. That makes you reliable." She picked up the tablet and swiped. Legal documents bloomed on the screen, blocks of text and numbers. "My ex-husband has filed to have me removed as CEO," she said. "He claims I am emotionally unstable, incapable of maintaining a healthy personal life, obsessed with work. He is pushing the board to vote in 72 hours. He is telling them, I live in this building, that I have nothing else. No balance, no anchors." Ava looked again toward the glass wall and the small body on the sofa beyond it. "If I can show them a husband and a child, a home life, something that looks like stability, it undercuts his argument. It is theater, yes, but it is theater they are prepared to reward." Noah stared at the contracts, the neat lines, the blank where his signature would go. His hands smelled like bleach and metal. His head felt too light. "What do I get?" he asked, and hated himself a little for the question even as he asked it. Ava did not hesitate. "You keep your job," she said. "You receive a promotion on paper that will impress a judge. You receive a salary that no longer has you counting quarters at the gas pump. Your daughter goes to a school where no one laughs at the holes in her sneakers." He thought of Lily's school now, the cracked asphalt, the overcrowded classroom, the teacher telling him gently that Lily was smart but needed more. "And if I say no," he asked. "Then I call security," Ava said. Her voice never shifted from that cool, almost bored cadence. "They escort you out. Your file says you brought an unauthorized minor into a restricted space and refused to leave when asked. Your ex's attorney will have fun with that." Noah looked down at his own reflection in the polished table. A man in a gray Polo Cleaning Company logo over his hard eyes, ringed with exhaustion. Behind him in the glass wall, another reflection layered over his shoulder, Ava, in her perfect suit, all edges. Between them, far away but somehow right there, Lily in the conference room, a blur of small limbs beneath his jacket. He thought about the summons with his name at the top, about Brooks' flat voice on the phone last week. "The judge is going to see I can offer her more than you ever will." His chest hurt. He lifted his head. If I do this, he said, it is not forever right. 6 weeks, Ava said. Long enough to get through the votes and the hearings. After that we can revisit, or not. There will be a prenup. You will not touch my shares. I will not touch your daughter. The way she said it, it sounded almost like a promise. Noah closed his eyes for a brief second. In the darkness, he saw Lily's face asleep on that couch, then awake on a stand in some courtroom being asked where she wanted to live. He opened his eyes. Where do I sign? He asked. Ava turned the tablet toward him. The line for his name waited in thin black. His hand shook once as he reached for the stylus. He tightened his grip. The tip met glass. His name appeared looping across the screen. The moment he lifted his hand, something inside his chest shifted like a lock turning. Ava watched the signature appear. For a heartbeat, the hardness in her gaze eased. All right, Mr. Cruz, she said. Go home. Pack what you and your daughter own. Tomorrow my driver will pick you up at noon. He looked back through the solid glass wall at Lily still sleeping small and unbothered by contracts and CEOs and board votes. The city glowed behind her, a blur of rain and light. Noah wondered which parts of his life he had just cleaned away and which stains would never come out. He stepped out of the conference room to wake his daughter. The hallway outside Noah's apartment still smelled faintly of someone else's dinner when he turned the key and stepped inside. Burnt garlic and old oil, the opposite of whatever they used to spray in the vents at Zenith to make the air taste like nothing. Lily shuffled in behind him, half awake, clutching her otter by the tail. Did you get in trouble? She asked, rubbing her eyes. He locked the door and leaned his forehead against it for a second. Not the kind that matters, he said. Come on, kid, we have to pack. The studio was one room pretending to be 3. A mattress in one corner, a chipped table with mismatched chairs, a thin partition that did not quite reach the ceiling, where Lily's small bed was squeezed next to a shelf of plastic bins. The refrigerator hummed louder than it needed to. A train rattled by on the tracks 2 blocks away. Noah grabbed the 2 suitcases from under the bed and flipped them open. Clothes rolled or shoved went in first. He moved on autopilot the way he did when he cleaned bathrooms after holiday parties. Do the task in front of you. Do not think about the glitter you will still find a week from now. Dad, Lily stood in the middle of the floor, hair sticking up, otter pressed to her chest. Why are we packing everything? He paused with a stack of t-shirts in his hands. Remember how I said I had a special job to do? He asked. She nodded. It means we are going to stay somewhere else for a while, he said. A different place closer to where I work. Like a hotel. Something like that, he said. You will have your own room. Her eyes widened. With a door, she asked. Bussy asked. With a door, he said, and the truth of that made something pinch behind his ribs. He packed her favorite books, the worn sneakers with the little star on the side, the drawing she had done of the 2 of them, with a crooked sun in the corner. He almost left the drawing on the fridge, then peeled the magnet away and slid the paper into a suitcase. The apartment shrank around them as the suitcases fattened. By the time he finished, the room looked like a place between tenants, half full of shadows and dust. He took the letter from the court off the counter, folded it, and put it in his pocket. He checked the time. 11:50 the next morning still felt like a concept that might stretch or disappear. It arrived anyway. At 11:58, as promised, a black sedan pulled up to the curb in front of their building, gleaming despite the fine mist drifting down. Noah recognized the Zenith logo in discreet silver on the side. Ray stepped out from behind the wheel. Up close, Noah could see more of his face. Late 50s, maybe lines around his eyes that looked like permanent squinting from too much sun on highways. Mr. Cruz, Ray said, as if they had met 100 times before, instead of once in a parking garage months ago. Miss Lily. He opened the trunk with a soft thump and reached for their suitcases before Noah could. We do not have much, Noah said. Less to lose, Ray replied. The words came out neutral, not cruel. Inside, the sedan smelled like leather and something citrus and clean. Lily pressed her nose to the window as Ray pulled away from the curb. Where are we going? She asked. To where your dad works, Ray said, catching her eyes in the rearview mirror. Just a little higher up this time. Seattle slid by outside. The tracks to the corner store with the flickering sign, the narrow houses clinging to the hill. Then the buildings thickened and smoothed out into glass and steel. Office towers, hotels, cranes reaching into the low gray sky. Lily gasped when the car turned toward the water and the cluster of tall buildings in South Lake Union. That one, she asked, pointing at a tower of glass that looked like a stack of mirrored boxes. That one, Noah said. The sedan dipped into the underground garage. The air turned colder concrete instead of rain. Noah's badge worked in on the security turnstile, but he still felt like someone would stop them, ask why a kid was here in the middle of the day. No one did. They rode a different elevator this time, not the service one with scuffed walls and a faint smell of detergent, but a silent car lined with brushed steel and a panel of buttons that went all the way up. Ray scanned a card that was not Noah's. The button for the top floor glowed. Lily watched their reflections in the metal, her small face round and serious. Noah's tired, but sharper in a clean shirt. The suits from the lobby were gone. In their place, just 3 people in an elevator breathing the same recycled air. When the doors opened, there was no hallway, no carpet, no receptionist desk. The elevator opened directly into a foyer. It felt like stepping into someone else's movie. Light poured through floor-to-ceiling windows along an entire wall. The city spread out below buildings and streets, and the water of Elliott Bay a shade paler than the sky. Boats looked like white dashes on blue-gray. The Space Needle perched in the distance, thin and odd and familiar. The floor was pale stone. A long console table held a single glass bowl and a set of keys. The air smelled like nothing at all. Lily took 2 steps out and stopped. "Dad," she whispered, "we can see the whole world." "Feels like it," he said. He heard the small click of heels before he saw her. Ava walked out from a wide opening to the left without a blazer this time. She wore dark jeans and a soft-looking gray sweater barefoot. The sight of her without armor made Noah blink. "Hello, Mr. Cruz," she said. Her gaze flicked to Lily. "Lily." Lily half hid behind Noah's leg, pressing her face into his thigh. Her fingers found a loose thread on his jeans and twisted. "You remember Ms. Sterling?" Noah said gently. "From last night." Lily peeked around him. "Hi," she whispered. "Hi," Ava said. Her voice was softer than it had been in the conference room. "You are right on time." Ray cleared his throat politely. "I will put their luggage in the guest rooms," he said. "Their rooms," Ava corrected. "Thank you, Ray." He nodded and disappeared down a hallway with the bags. For a moment, it was just the 3 of them in the bright open foyer. Lily's eyes darted around, taking everything in, the low white sofa in the living area, the dark wood shelves with neatly arranged books, the kitchen in the distance with its gleaming metal and marble surfaces. "Is this your house?" she asked Ava. "My home, yes," Ava said. "I know it is a lot." "It is big," Lily said. "Bigger than our whole building." A corner of Ava's mouth moved. "Would you like to see your room?" she asked. Lily looked up at Noah, seeking something in his face. "It is okay," he said. "I will come too." Ava led them down a wide hallway lined with framed photographs. Noah noticed them in passing, Ava shaking hands with people in suits. Ava at a conference podium, a microphone in front of her. In every picture she was smiling, but the smile never quite reached her eyes. At the end of the hall, she opened a door. The room on the other side looked like a children's catalog had exploded and then tidied itself. The walls were painted a soft blue, the color of clear sky he did not see often. A small bed with a white frame sat under a window draped with a gauzy canopy. A string of tiny lights hung along the headboard. Shelves held books all lined up like soldiers, their spines bright. A low table in the corner had crayons sorted by color and stacks of blank paper. Near the bed stood a stuffed whale almost as big as Lily. Lily did not move for a second. Her hand tightened on Noah's. "Is this, she asked, a voice very small, "for me?" "For as long as you are here," Ava said. "My assistant was not sure what you liked, so she bought a little of everything. If there is something missing, we can fix that." Lily took a tentative step into the room. Her socks made no sound on the rug. She reached out and touched the whale's soft fabric, then the spine of a book, then the string of lights. "Can I keep him?" she asked, pointing to the whale. "Yes," Ava said. "Even if I drool on him." "I'm sure he can handle it," Ava said. Lily did something Noah did not expect. She spun on her heel and walked the 2 steps back to Ava, then wrapped her arms around Ava's legs. "Thank you," she said into the gray sweater. Ava froze. Her hands hovered for a heartbeat. Fingers spread, not quite touching. Then she let them fall gently to Lily's back, light and careful as if she were afraid too much pressure might break her. "You are welcome," Ava said, and her voice sounded different, thinner. Noah watched something tight in his chest, loosening and tightening at the same time. Lily pulled away and ran to the bookshelf, already narrating to the whale which stories they would read first. Ava turned to Noah. "She can explore," she said. "If you need to unpack, there is another bedroom for you down the hall. Ray put your things there." He nodded. "Thank you," he said. The words felt inadequate. Ava folded her arms, not in anger this time, but as if she were holding herself together. "I am not doing this out of charity," she said. "You understand that." "I know," he said. I also know you are giving her more than she has had. A flicker of something crossed her face. She looked away first. The kitchen is stocked, she said. There is a schedule on the fridge. My assistant Jenna will be around today. I have meetings, but I will be back by 7. He almost pointed out that she did not owe him a timetable. Then he remembered that legally she did. Her phone buzzed in her back pocket. She glanced at the screen face flattening. I have to take this, she said. Settle in. We will talk later. She left them there in the doorway of the small blue room. Lily had climbed onto the bed and was bouncing in place, testing the mattress, laughing quietly to herself, as if she was afraid someone might decide she was too loud and turn off the lights. Dad, she whispered when he stepped inside. Do we really get to stay here? For a while, he said. She flopped onto her back hair, spreading on the pillow Otter dropped beside the whale. It feels like being in the sky, she said, staring up at the canopy, like we are in the clouds. Noah sat on the edge of the bed and rested his elbows on his knees. He looked out the window. Seattle stretched in every direction, gray and shining, the rain letting up enough to leave streaks on the glass. From up here, his old apartment might as well have been on a different planet. He reached out and smoothed a wrinkle in the blanket with his palm. His hand looked rough against the clean white. Yeah, he said. It does. In the hall, he could still smell Ava's perfume, light and unfamiliar, threaded through the scent of fresh paint and new fabric. He wondered how long it would take for any of this to feel like something he was allowed to touch. By mid-afternoon, the penthouse had started to collect signs that someone actually lived in it. A pair of tiny socks lay abandoned near the coffee table. One of Lily's drawings, done in thick crayon lines, had migrated from her room to the fridge. It showed 3 stick figures holding hands under a square that might have been a house with a cluster of blue scribbles over the top. Clouds, Noah thought. Or maybe just blue sunman, or maybe just blue. He was rinsing a mug in the sink, getting used to a faucet that responded instantly instead of sputtering when the elevator chimed. Noah dried his hands on a dish towel and turned as the doors opened. This time it was not Ava. A woman in a dark green suit stepped out carrying a thin leather briefcase and a to-go coffee cup with lipstick on the rim. Her hair was pulled back in a twist that looked both sharp and careless at the same time. Late 40s, maybe early 50s. Efficient eyes. She saw him, took the room in. You must be Noah, she said. That is me, he said. Can I help you? You can, actually. She set the cup on the console table without looking at it. I am Monica Price, Ava's attorney. The word attorney made his shoulders want to tighten the way they did in court hallways. He forced them to stay where they were. She is out, he said. Meetings. I know, Monica said. She sent me in her place. We have work to do. She tapped the briefcase lightly. Where is Lily? She asked, already moving toward the living area. In her room, Noah said, reading or talking to the whale. Good, Monica said. We can talk without little ears. She chose the long dining table instead of the sofa, sliding into a chair as if it belonged to her. Noah sat opposite her, its clasped together on the polished surface. His reflection stared back at him, faint but there. Monica snapped open the briefcase. Inside, everything was in neat stacks. She pulled out a folder and opened it, revealing several tabs marked in labeled colors. Here is the situation, she said. You and Ava are married, legally. That part is simple. Nothing about this feels simple, he said. She almost smiled. The law likes signatures, she said. You signed. The state says you are husband and wife. The problem is the story around it. She slid a piece of paper toward him. At the top in block letters, it said timeline. I wrote a narrative that will satisfy people who like neat boxes, she said. We are going to put it in your bones so you do not have to think about it. He picked up the paper. The first line read, 6 months ago, Ava delivers keynote at STEM Futures Gala Seattle Art Museum. You were there, Monica said. No, I was not, Noah said. You are now, she said. Zenith took a table. Employees volunteered to set up. You applied for volunteer hours because it paid double. He scanned the rest. He and Ava had met backstage. She had been adjusting her microphone. He had been moving chairs. She had asked him what he thought about mentorship programs for kids who could not afford laptops. He had said something clever enough to make her laugh. They had found each other at the reception later in front of a display of student projects. They had talked about being first-generation college students, about work and parents and the way some doors never opened. You make me sound smarter than I am, Noah said. You are a single father working nights at a tech company so your kid can eat and breathe, Monica said. There is nothing unintelligent about that. Now, read the second page. The second page was a list of specific details. Dinner at a small Italian restaurant in Capitol Hill. Her dish. his dish. The song playing when the waiter refilled their water glasses. The joke Ava had made about not understanding TikTok. "You expect me to remember all of this?" Noah asked. "I expect you to know it well enough that when someone tries to trip you, you do not fall on your face," Monica said. "Most people will not dig. Daniel will. He will look for seams." She pulled out a tablet and set it in front of him. On the screen was a photograph of a restaurant interior. Small warm wood tables close together. A chalkboard with daily specials. "This is Bianchi's," she said. "It exists. It is 5 blocks from the museum. You went there with Ava after the gala 3 weeks later for your first date, and once more before the wedding." "Have you been there?" he asked. "Of course," she said. "I only put real places in my lies. It gives them roots." He read the rest of the narrative. 3 months of quiet dating. Coffee shops, a bookstore, a walk along the waterfront where Lily had eaten ice cream and dropped half of it on her shirt. Another detail that had never happened, but he could see it. Chocolate swirl her gasp. A visit to Pike Place Market where Ava had bought flowers and he had carried the bouquet feeling out of place, but strangely proud. Then a courthouse wedding 3 weeks ago. Simple efficient in front of a judge who had no idea he was part of a larger plan. "You are asking me to carry an entire fake relationship in my head," Noah said. "I am asking you to carry it in your body," Monica corrected. "If someone asks you about that night at the market, I do not want you reciting lines. I want you remembering the smell of fish and coffee, how heavy the bouquet was, how Lily complained her feet hurt." Her voice had softened just a little. "You have imagination," she said. "Use it." He set the paper down. His palms left brief prints on the glassy surface. "What about her?" he asked. "She has to remember this too." "Ava already has the same timeline," Monica said. "She helped write it. Her memory is a steel trap. I am not worried about her." She leaned forward. "I am worried about you," she said. "You once asked security on the 3rd floor where the vending machines were. They told you they had been moved 2 years earlier." Noah felt his ears heat. "You do not have to say it like that," he said. "I need you to understand the stakes," she said. "When Daniel starts talking, he will make you feel small. He will make you feel like a fraud. That is his specialty. If you are steady, he has less room to move." She flipped to another document. "This is the marriage license," she said, "filed with the state. That part is not fake. There is no pretend line at the courthouse. You are Ava's husband." The word husband landed somewhere between his throat and his stomach. He swallowed. "This is the prenup," she went on. "It states that if the marriage ends, you get what Ava specified. Nothing more, nothing less. No claim on her company, no claim on her assets beyond what she already promised. It also protects you. If Daniel or anyone else tries to frame you as a gold digger, I will show them you signed this without blinking." "I blinked," he said. "Not on paper," she said. He read the key points. The numbers were dizzying. The monthly salary, the tuition for a school whose brochure he had once picked up at a community center and then put down, because it felt like touching something forbidden. He signed where she pointed. The stylus felt more familiar the second time. When they were done, Monica put everything back into the briefcase with quick, exact movements. No wasted motion. "One more thing," she said, remaining seated. "You need to get comfortable with Ava in ways that make sense for a married couple who rushed things a bit." His mind supplied images he quickly pushed away. "In public," she added, seeing something cross his face. "Hands, small touches, little things that people in boardrooms notice when they are deciding whether someone lives in their job or in the world." "I am not an actor," he said. "You do not have to be," she said. "You already love someone, your daughter. Use that. You know what it feels like to reach out without thinking." He looked toward the hallway where Lily's room was, then back at Monica. "What about Lily?" he asked. "What does she say when people ask her who Ava is?" "She tells them the truth that is useful," Monica said. "Ava is Dad's wife. Ava is the person who read her 2 stories instead of one last night. We do not ask her to lie. Children get it tangled." Noah rubbed a thumb along the edge of the table. It came away clean. "What do you think of her?" he asked, surprising himself. "Of Ava." Monica considered him. "She pays me to keep her out of trouble," she said. "She does not always let me. She works like the building will collapse if she stops. She forgets to eat. She remembers every slight for 10 years. Monica's mouth softened. "She also signed checks today that will change your daughter's life," she said. "So, I would say my opinion is complicated." The elevator chimed again. Ava stepped out of it, phone in hand, still mid-conversation. She spoke in a low voice as she walked, something about projections and runway. When she saw Monica and Noah at the table, she finished the call quickly. "How bad is it?" she asked Monica. "Manageable," Monica said. "He can read, he can sign, we are halfway there." Ava's gaze shifted to Noah. "How are you?" she asked. He opened his hands briefly, showing her the stack of papers, then let them fall. "Married apparently," he said. A flicker of something that might have been amusement crossed her features. "That is what the certificate says," she said. "Have you gone over the timeline?" "We have started," Monica said. "He needs practice, preferably with you." Ava exhaled. "All right," she said. "Come on, Mr. Cruz. Let us see if we can make this look like the kind of mistake people envy." She held out her hand across the table. Her fingers were cool, smooth nails, short and neat. His were warm and still a little rough from bleach and mops. When he placed his hand in hers, the contact was simple skin against skin. It felt like a rehearsal. It felt like the first step onto a stage he had never wanted under lights he did not control. By the next morning, the penthouse had a rhythm Noah could almost hear. The dishwasher hummed in the kitchen. Lily's bare feet made light thumps down the hall as she ran from her room to the living area and back again. Somewhere above them, something creaked in the building's mechanical system, a sound he was used to hearing from inside the guts of the place, not from the top looking down. He sat at the dining table with the timeline sheet spread in front of him. Names, dates, tiny details Monica had insisted on. The smell of coffee drifted from the kitchen. Not the burnt acid of the break room, but something darker and smoother. Ava moved around the kitchen in a way that suggested she did not often cook, but understood where everything lived. She had pulled her hair into a loose knot. No suit jacket, only a white t-shirt. A shirt and dark pants. The casualness looked almost like a disguise. "Again," she said. Noah focused on the paper in front of him. 6 months ago," he began. "You gave the keynote at the STEM Futures Gala at the Art Museum. I was volunteering that night through Zenith. I helped set up chairs backstage, and you asked me if the microphone made you look weird." "It did not," she said automatically. "I told you it did not," he corrected. "And I told you the room smelled like old money and dry cheese." The corner of her mouth twitched. "Better," she said. "And what did we talk about at Bianchi's on our first date?" "The waitress kept refilling your water," he said, closing his eyes to picture the photo Monica had shown him. "You ordered the mushroom risotto. I had spaghetti and meatballs because I did not know how to pronounce any of the other dishes. You told me about coding on an old family desktop that overheated every 20 minutes. I told you about my dad falling asleep with a welding mask on." "Good," she said. "That part is true now, whether or not we have eaten there." He opened his eyes. She set a mug in front of him, coffee black, no sugar on the table. "How do you take it?" she asked. "Milk if there is any," he said. "Sugar if I am lucky." She went back to the fridge without comment, came back with a small carton and a glass sugar jar. He watched her pour stir. "It is a strange thing," he said. "What is?" she asked. "Gabo, orish seed." "Having memories of something that never happened," he said. "It feels like stealing scenes from someone else's life." "You are not stealing," she said. "You are borrowing, with interest." He snorted softly and took a sip. The warmth slid down his throat, spreading into his chest. Lily appeared at his elbow holding a book almost as big as her torso. "Can we read?" she asked. "The whale wants to know what happens next." "After breakfast," Ava said. "You need something in your stomach that is not imaginary." "I already ate cereal," Lily said. "Cereal with marshmallows is dessert," Ava said. "Sit, I made toast." Lily eyed the plate on the counter. "It is so flat," she said. "That is what bread looks like when it grows up," Ava said. Lily climbed onto a stool and accepted a slice. Noah watched her chew, then glance at Ava as if checking whether she was doing it correctly. The apartment buzzer cut through the quiet, 3 short beeps. Ava checked her phone. "That will be her," she said. "Her who?" Lily asked her. "Lip, with his crumbs on her lip. Noah's stomach tightened. He wiped his hands on his jeans. "Brooke," he said. "Your mom." Lily went still. Her hand paused halfway to her mouth. "She is coming here?" she asked. "Just for a visit," he said. "She wants to see where you live now." Lily put the toast down. "Should I clean my room?" she asked. "It is already clean," Ava said. "You can stay and say hi, or you can go to your room. Whatever feels better." Lily considered, then slid off the stool. "I will say hi," she said. "Then maybe I will go show the whale." She padded down the hall. Noah heard her door click. He turned to Ava. "You sure about this?" he asked. "She has a right to see where her child is," Ava said. You know that. I know, he said. I also know she will not come alone. Lawsuits are like perfume, Ava said. They get on everything. The elevator chimed. Brooke Cruz stepped into the penthouse like she was stepping onto a stage, back straight, chin lifted. She wore a fitted navy dress that stopped just above her knees' heels that added to her height, and a beige coat slung over one arm despite the mild air. Her hair was smooth, the color touched up since Noah had last seen her. A designer bag hung from her shoulder logo, flashing briefly as she set it down. Her gaze went first to the windows, then to the living room, then to the kitchen. She took in the view, the furniture, the art on the walls. "Oh my God," she said, not bothering to keep her voice down. "You live here?" The "you" was aimed at Noah sharp and disbelieving. "Brooke," he said, "this is Ava Sterling." Ava stepped forward. "Ava is fine," she said, extending a hand. "Thank you for coming." Brooke looked at the hand for a beat, then took it. Her fingers were cool, her grip firm. "You are Ava Sterling," Brooke said. "Like that Ava Sterling, the one in the magazine with the piece about disruption." "So they tell me," Ava said. Brooke let go and looked around again. "Wow," she said. "When you said you got a promotion, I did not think you meant marrying the CEO." The words were light on the surface. Underneath there was something else. Envy, maybe, or resentment. Noah felt heat creep up his neck. "It happened fast," he said. "Clearly," Brooke said. Lily appeared in the hallway, otter tucked under her arm. She stood there a second, then walked in a straight line to her mother. "Hi, Mom," she said. Brooke's face changed. Some of the sharpness dropped away. She crouched down and opened her arms. "Hey, Bug," she said. "Come here." Lily went into the hug, pressing her face into Brooke's shoulder. Brooke closed her eyes for one long breath, fingers sliding into Lily's hair. "Look at you," Brooke said when she pulled back. "New dress, fancy place. You forget about your old mom already." Lily shook her head, smiling small. "I have my own room," she said. "And a whale. His name is Captain Bubbles." Brooke laughed. "Of course it is," she said. She straightened, smoothing the front of her dress. Her gaze flicked between Noah and Ava. "So, this is real." "It is legal," Ava said. "Real can be discussed." There was no hostility in her tone, only an even bluntness. Brooke picked up her bag and walked toward the windows. "Jesus," she said quietly, looking down at the city. "I can see the stadium from here." Noah stood a few feet away, hands in his pockets. He felt like he was watching his past and present lean against the same pane of glass. "Can I talk to you alone?" Brooke asked, not turning around. "Which one of us?" Ava asked. "Both," Brooke said, "separately and together." "In that order?" Ava asked. Brooke turned, then eyes sharp again. "Look," she said, "I do not know what this is between you two. I do not really care as long as Lily is okay, but I am not stupid." "No one said you were," Noah said. "You did not have to," Brooke said. "You think I do not know what it looks like when my ex-husband, who could barely afford rent, suddenly lives in a penthouse with the woman on the cover of Wired." Her gaze landed on Ava. "Did you pick him up off a checklist?" she asked. "Single dad, tragic eyes, good with kids." "Brooke," Noah said sharply. Ava held up a hand, stopping him. "I picked him because he works here," Ava said. "Because I have watched him clean my building for 3 years. Because he loves his daughter so much that he brings her to work when he has no other options." "You saw that as a qualification?" Brooke asked. "I saw it as evidence," Ava said. "He does not run." Brooke's eyes narrowed. "And what about you?" she asked Ava. "You run when it gets hard, or you just pay someone to make it go away?" The air in the room thinned. Noah's hand curled into a fist in his pocket, fingernails digging into his palm. "Brooker," he said again lower. "I have done both," Ava said. "You can read about it in the court documents, but that is not why you are here." "No," Brooke said. "I am here because that man threatened to take my daughter." She jabbed a thumb in Noah's direction. "Her father," Ava said. "Not just that man." Brooke looked at Noah. For a moment, the fight went out of her face, and he saw the girl he had met at a bus stop at 19. Laughing, tired, holding a plastic grocery bag with ramen and off-brand soda. "You could not afford soccer cleats last year," she said. "Now she is going to some prep school, with boats in the brochure." "So, she does not end up counting pennies for medicine," Noah said. "So, she has more than we did." "And what do you get out of it?" Brooke asked Ava. "Besides a very marketable narrative." "Security," Ava said. "For my position, for my company, for the people whose paychecks depend on it. I do not expect you to care about that. I do expect you to care that your daughter is safe here." Brooke glanced around again. The space no longer seemed to impress her. It seemed to irritate. "She is safe," Brooke said. From bedbugs and leaky ceilings, and the neighbors screaming at each other at 2 in the morning. I am not blind. Good, Ava said. But do not expect me to just sign her over to you two because you have a nicer view, Brooke added. No one is asking you to sign her over, Ava said. We are asking for something that makes sense. Monica had left a packet on the sideboard. Ava picked it up and slid it across the table to Brooke. Primary residence here, she said. Standard visitation schedule for you, holidays split, child support adjusted, you get more of your paycheck, Lily gets stability, Noah gets to stop wondering if each shift will be his last. Brooke did not touch the packet. So you are buying my daughter, she said. No, Ava said. I am buying time for all of us. You can take that to your attorney, you can scream at it, you can burn it, but this is the offer. Brooke looked at Noah again. You really want this? She asked. Her here, not with me half the week, not bouncing back and forth. I want her to stop packing a bag every 3 days, he said. I want her to know which bed is hers. I want you to actually show up when you say you will not send a text an hour before. He kept his voice level, but he saw the way her jaw clenched. I have a life, Brooke said. A job, a husband. So do we, Ava said. The difference is we are building ours around her. For a long moment, no one spoke. The city moved silently beyond the glass. A cloud slid over the sun, softening the light. Lily shifted her weight from foot to foot, beside the sofa watching the grown-ups. She clutched the otter so tight its fake fur was crushed. Am I in trouble? She asked suddenly. All 3 adults turned toward her. No, Noah said quickly. You are not in trouble. People only talk like that when I am in trouble, Lily said, or when the smoke alarm goes off. Brooke laughed once unexpectedly. You are not in trouble, Bug, she said. Grown-ups are just being stupid. Lily considered that and seemed to accept it. Do you want to see my room? She asked. It has lights and a whale, and a drawer that does not stick. Brooke's mouth twisted. Yeah, she said. Show me your fancy drawer. Lily took her hand. Brooke let herself be led down the hallway, heels clicking softer on the wood. Noah and Ava were left in the open space by the windows. She will fight it, Noah said. I know, Ava said. Her lawyer will tell her what she stands to lose and what she stands to gain. She does not have my resources. That makes people practical. He looked at her. You talk about people like they are spreadsheets, he said. I talk about them like they make choices, she said. She made one when she left. You are making one now. Her phone buzzed. She glanced at it and frowned. The board dinner is tonight, she said. We should talk about that. Of course there was a dinner. He had almost forgotten in the swirl of packing contracts ex-spouses. Who is coming? He asked. Ellen Cho, Victor Kane, Harriet Bloom. They're partners, she said. People who have known me as a work unit for 8 years. They are now expected to believe I am a person who goes home to a husband and a child. That sounds easy, he said. Her mouth curved. For them or for us? She asked. Neither, he said. She walked to the couch and touched a throw pillow, repositioning it without thinking. Her hands were restless. They will watch how we sit, she said. How we look at each other when we talk. Whether Lily seems comfortable with me. They will not say that is what they are doing. They will call it getting to know you. And what do you need me to do? He asked. Be what you already are, she said. A father who cares more about his kid than his pride. A man who can talk about something besides work. I have not had much practice with that, he said. Learn tonight, she said. Hart's steps sounded in the hallway. Brooke and Lily emerged. Lily held something in her hand, a small drawing freshly made. She ran to Noah and thrust it at him. This is us, she said. Me and you and Ava. I tried to draw the windows, but my blue ran out. The picture showed 3 figures. One with a scribble of long hair, one with a square jaw, one smaller with a round head. Above them was a rough rectangle with lines through it. Glass, he realized. Her version of the city. It is beautiful, he said. Brooke looked over his shoulder at the paper. Her face did something complicated. You always like to draw houses, she said to Lily. Remember the ones on the fridge? We brought one, Lily said. Dad said we could not leave it. Brooke turned to Ava. I will have my lawyer look at your offer, she said. Do not expect an answer tomorrow. I do not, Ava said. Thank you for coming. Brooke picked up her bag, adjusted the strap on her shoulder. At the elevator, she paused. For what it is worth, she said, looking at Ava. I never thought he would end up cleaning your floors forever. A small shrug. I just did not think he would end up in your bed either. The elevator doors opened. She stepped inside and was gone. Lily let out a long breath she seemed to have been holding. She is mad, she said. Maybe, Noah said. Maybe she is just surprised. She made this face, Lily said, scrunching her nose and pulling her mouth tight. Ava almost laughed. The sound came out softer than her usual clipped words. Well, Ava said, we have a few hours before the next performance. She looked at Lily. Do you want to help me pick out what to wear? She asked. I am told small children are brutally honest. Lily brightened. Can I choose your shoes? She asked. Within reason, Ava said. They disappeared down the hall together, the small hand slipping into the larger one without hesitation. Noah watched them go, the lines of their silhouettes shrinking against the bright blue of Lily's room. He turned back to the window. The city below was still the same, glass steel water streets. The difference was up here where someone had drawn 3 stick figures under a crooked rectangle and called it home. By 7 that evening, the penthouse looked like it belonged to someone else again. The toys that had migrated into the living room were stacked neatly in a woven basket. Lily's drawing still held its place on the fridge, but the magnets had been adjusted so the edges sat straight. The table near the windows was set with white plates, narrow wine glasses, and cloth napkins folded in triangles so precise Noah felt nervous just looking at them. Caterers had come and gone in a quiet blur, leaving behind trays in the oven sauces covered in the fridge directions taped to the microwave. The kitchen now smelled faintly of garlic roasted chicken and something bright like lemon. Noah stood in the bedroom Ava had assigned him, adjusting the collar of a shirt that did not belong to him. The stylist she used had come that afternoon trailing garment bags and a tape measure. The man had walked around Noah twice, humming, then built an outfit from textures and muttered words like structure and lines. Now, Noah wore dark trousers that fit in a way his old work pants never had, a crisp white shirt, and a jacket that felt heavier on his shoulders than any uniform. His reflection in the mirror still surprised him. He looked like someone who might hold a glass of wine without thinking about its price. There was a knock on his open door. Wow, Lily said. She stood there in a blue dress that hit her knees, hair brushed a small braid pulled back from her face. Her socks had lace at the edges. The stuffed otter was missing for once. You look like a TV dad, she said. Is that good? He asked. Yeah, she said. The kind who makes pancakes. He smiled. You look like someone who knew how to pick a dress, he said. I did not pick it, she said. Ava did, but I said yes. She stepped into the room, turning in a slow circle. She has a whole closet just for shoes, Lily said, eyes wide. There is a shelf with only black ones. Different kinds of black. That sounds about right, Noah said. She let me choose, Lily went on. She had these shiny ones, but they were very tall. I picked the ones she can walk in. That was smart, he said. She looks like a princess who has to go to a meeting, Lily said. Noah felt his chest shift at that. He straightened his tie again. Ready? He asked. As I will ever be, she said, mimicking something she had clearly heard from an adult. They walked down the hall together. The lights were lower now, softer. In the living room, the lamps cast warm circles on the walls. Outside, Seattle had turned fully dark, a scatter of lights and streaks of car movement far below. Ava stood near the windows, talking quietly with Ray, who wore a simple dark suit instead of his driving jacket. She had chosen a black dress that skimmed her knees, sleeves to the wrist neckline, simple. It was the opposite of flashy. Her hair was down, straightened, falling over one shoulder. When she turned at the sound of their steps, Noah felt his breath catch for half a second. The board's Glacier Queen looked less glacial and more like a human, pretending she was not nervous. You clean up well, she said to him. Says the woman whose shoes have their own climate, he said. She glanced at her feet. The heels were reasonable, as Lily had promised a soft black leather. Lily chose them, she said. Apparently she did not trust me not to break my neck and the others. I saw them, Lily said. They were like stilts. The elevator chimed. Ava's shoulders squared. Here we go, she said under her breath. Ellen Cho arrived first with her husband Mark, a quiet man in a gray sweater and glasses. Ellen wore a dark green dress and an expression Noah had seen in meetings, focused but with a kernel of warmth. She hugged Ava lightly, then stepped back. It is good to see you outside the building, Ellen said. This place suits you. It is where my email comes to sleep, Ava said. Ellen laughed, then turned to Noah. And you must be the famous husband, she said, offering a hand. Noah took it. Depends who you ask, he said. But yes, Noah. Mark added a nod and a small, nice to meet you. They made simple, polite conversation, the kind that touch weather traffic the new sculpture in the lobby of the building. Lily hovered close, then relaxed when Ellen asked her about school. The elevator chimed again. Victor Kane stepped out with his wife Laura. Victor was tall, with a voice that seemed to fill rooms, even when he spoke quietly. His handshake had the steady pressure of someone used to closing deals. Laura wore pearls and an easy smile that did more to soften the room than any lamp. "Good to finally meet the mystery man," Victor said, shaking Noah's hand. "We were starting to think Ava had invented you just to irritate Daniel." "I am very real," Noah said, "though I understand the temptation." Laura laughed, genuine and light. They settled with drinks. Ray moved around the room, like part of the furniture refilling glasses, handing out non-alcoholic options. The air warmed with voices and the clink of ice. Harriet Bloom arrived last. She came alone. Her hair was a sharp silver bob. Her dress was black tailored, the kind that probably never wrinkled. She had a glass already in hand, which suggested a previous stop or a habit. "Ava," she said, "nice place." "Harriet," Ava said. Harriet's eyes swept the room. They paused on Noah, then on Lily, then back at Ava. A tiny smile touched her mouth, but there was no warmth in it. "So this is the Miracle family," Harriet said. "We prefer to think of ourselves as inefficient planning," Ava said. "Everyone, this is Harriet Bloom. Harriet, my husband Noah. You have heard of Lily." Harriet nodded once to Noah, then crouched a bit to Lily's height. "So you are the one who convinced her to leave the office?" Harriet said. "Good work." Lily blinked. "I just asked if she could read another story," Lily said. "And she did." "That will do it," Harriet said, straightening. They moved to the long dining table. Candles had been lit, thin white columns sending out little halos of light. The city outside reflected in the glass, making it look as if there were more lights inside than there were. Ava and Noah sat side by side at one end. Lily sat to Noah's right next to Laura, who immediately offered to help with napkins and forks. Ellen sat across from Noah. Harriet positioned herself midway down where she could see everyone. The first course arrived a light salad with shaved cheese, and something crunchy that Noah could not quite identify. He forced himself to take small bites to remember to chew. Conversation moved through safe topics. Victor told a story about a delayed flight and a missed connection in Denver. Ellen talked about her teenage son who had decided the drums were his destiny. Laura asked Lily about her favorite subject at school. "Science," Lily said. "We did a thing with vinegar and baking soda, and it went fshh." She lifted her hands to show the explosion. Harriet watched, sipping her wine. "And your favorite subject, Noah?" she asked. "As a student." He swallowed his lettuce. "Back then," he said, "probably shop. Anything where I could use my hands. There is less homework when you are learning to weld." "A useful skill," Victor said. "The world always needs things built." The second course came richer, warmer. The smell of roasted chicken and herbs filled the room. The heat from the dishes fogged the base of the candles, tiny halos blurring for a moment before clearing again. Noah caught Ava's knee, bump his under the table. He looked at her. She gave him a brief glance that said, "You are doing fine." Or maybe he was just hoping that was what it meant. It was during the pause between the second and third courses that Harriet tilted her glass and turned the conversation. "So," she said, voice light, "how does a janitor become a CEO's husband in under 6 months? I am genuinely curious. It sounds like poetry." The table quieted. Noah felt the word janitor land on his skin. It was accurate. It was also suddenly smaller than it had been an hour ago. Ava set her fork down. "Harriet," she said, "we do not have to dissect my personal life over dinner." "We are not dissecting," Harriet said. "We are inquiring. There is a difference. We are board members. Your judgment is our business." Ellen frowned. "Harriet," she said, "this may not be the time." "When is the time then?" Harriet asked. "At the vote, when Daniel stands in front of us with exhibits and affidavits. At least here the chicken is good." Her eyes moved back to Noah. "Tell me, Mr. Cruz," she said, "what went through your mind when Ms. Sterling asked you out for the first time?" Noah let out a slow breath. "That is not quite how it happened," he said. "It was not a movie. There were no violins." "Then how did it happen?" Harriet asked. He thought of the script in his bones the way Monica had framed it. "She gave a speech," he said, "at the gala, about kids who do not get certain chances. I was behind the curtain stacking chairs thinking about how my daughter might be one of those kids if I did not work hard enough." He shifted his attention to the table so he would not have to see the judgment in her eyes. "She asked me what I thought," he said. "I told her she sounded like she remembered what it was like to scrape by. Most people forget once they are past it." "And that made you fall in love," Harriet said. "No," he said. "That made me remember her." The room was quiet enough that he could hear the tick of the thermostat. "I am not naive, Mr. Cruz," Harriet said. "You had access to her office at night. You had eyes. You had ambition. That is not a crime. I am simply wondering for the record whether this is a strategic collaboration or a love story." Victor cleared his throat. "Harriet," he said, "we have spent years telling Ava to find balance. She does, and you call it strategy." "Maybe it is both," Harriet said. Noah felt something bristle in him that had nothing to do with courtroom fear. He placed his hand flat on the table palm, warm against the polished wood. "You are right," he said. "I did have eyes." He lifted them to meet hers. "I saw her walking the halls when everyone else had gone home," he said. "Reading contracts no one else wanted to read, staying until 2 in the morning to make sure the benefits for the lowest paid workers did not get cut in a merger." Ellen looked at Ava, then back at Noah. She knew some of this, he realized. She had just never heard it from someone mopping a floor. "I saw her say no to a deal because it would mean laying off 200 people, he went on. "People like me. People who do not have savings if the company stumbles." Harriet's expression did not change, but her grip on the stem of her glass shifted. "I also saw her," Noah said, "walk past me in the lobby one night, then stop, walk back, and ask my name. I have worked plenty of jobs where no one bothered to do that." He let his fingers curl around the stem of his own glass, the coolness grounding. "I did not chase her," he said. "I did not have a plan. I had a bucket and a cart and a kid at home with asthma. She was not part of any equation." He paused, feeling the weight of everyone watching. The glass, the candles, the city. Lily's breath beside him. "You want to know when it stopped being strategy for me?" he asked. Harriet did not answer. No one did. "It was when she came to my apartment," he said. "A place you would not walk into without checking the soles of your shoes afterward. She sat at my table that wobbles on one leg and talked to my daughter like she was not an inconvenience." He felt Ava go still next to him. "Whatever you think of the timing," he said, "whatever you think of the paperwork, my part of this is not complicated. She saw me when I was invisible. That is rarer than you think." He realized his hand had drifted that without thinking he had reached for Ava's. His fingers brushed the back of her hand on the tablecloth. She did not pull away. Her hand turned, meeting his palm to palm. Warm, steady. It was not dramatic. They did not squeeze too tightly, did not clutch. The contact was simple, familiar, the kind of gesture people forgot they were making. Ellen's shoulders eased. Laura smiled, small and genuine. Victor took a slow drink of his wine. Harriet looked at their joined hands, then at their faces. "Well," she said finally, "that is a better answer than I expected." The third course arrived, plates sliding into place, the smell of seared meat and herbs filling the gaps left by the conversation. Cutlery whispered on porcelain as people began to eat. Talk shifted. Ellen asked about Lily's new school. Victor told a story about losing a board vote early in his career and how it had turned out to be a favor. Laura asked Ava if she ever took weekends off. Harriet stayed quiet for a while, swirling the wine in her glass, watching. At one point, Lily leaned into Ava's side to whisper something about dessert. Ava bent her head to listen, hair brushing Lily's cheek. From across the table, their outlines overlapped in the reflection on the glass. Noah felt the weight of Harriet's eyes on that image, but she said nothing. By the time plates were cleared and coffee poured, the edges of the evening had softened. Laughter came easier. The candle wax had melted into small pools around the wicks. Lily fell asleep on the sofa, her blue dress wrinkled, her braid half undone. A throw blanket pulled up to her chin. Laura helped tuck it around her. Ellen smiled down at her for a long second before reaching for her coat. Goodbyes began. Handshakes, cheeks brushed, promises to talk soon that might or might not be kept. At the door, as Ray held the elevator, Harriet paused. "You surprised me tonight, Mr. Cruz," she said. "In a good way?" he asked. "In a way," she said. She looked at Ava. "We will see how you both do when Daniel starts talking in a room you do not control." Then she stepped into the elevator and was gone, taken back down through the building toward the lobby Noah used to mop. The penthouse quieted gradually. The air seemed to exhale. The city outside kept glowing indifferent. Noah looked at the empty plates, the smudged glasses, the single fork Lily had left bent at a strange angle on her napkin. "You did well," Ava said. "So did you," he said. 2 days after the dinner, the penthouse held the faint ghosts of its own party. There was a tiny ring on the table where someone had set a glass without a coaster. A folded napkin forgotten under a chair still smelled like rosemary. Lily's bent fork had been straightened, but not entirely. It sat in the drawer, a small metal memory. In another part of Seattle, across the lake, in an office with darker glass, Daniel Kincaid flipped through photographs under fluorescent light. Stacks of images lay on his desk. Black and white shots of the Zenith lobby, color prints of the exterior of Noah's old building, with its peeling paint and crooked blinds, grainy stills from security footage showing Noah pushing a cart badge clipped to his shirt. The last stack was from Whitmore Investigations. The logo at the top of the report showed the outline of an eye inside a triangle. Under it, a tidy summary. Subject Noah Cruz objective, establish timeline of relationship with Ava Sterling. Identify vulnerabilities. Daniel tapped one photo with the end of his pen. It showed the conference room on the executive floor time-stamped from 6 months ago. The room was empty. No janitor, no CEO. He moved to the series from the week before. Here, the time-stamped image showed Noah inside the conference room, mop in hand, Ava in the doorway. The caption noted first recorded interaction between parties on premises. The corner of Daniel's mouth raised. He turned to the page with notes from the interview with Brooke. The investigator had recorded her words in clean, impersonal type. Subject appears resentful of ex-husband. Confirms financial strain prior to marriage. Confirms recent move to Sterling residence. Indicates disbelief at authenticity of relationship. Daniel read the sentences twice. A small pulse beat behind his eyes. He closed the folder, then opened another. This one held copies of wire transfers, dates highlighted. Large sums moving from one account, controlled by Ava, to an account linked to Noah, on the same day as the marriage license. He took his phone and pressed a contact. Progress, he asked when the investigator answered. We have confirmation on the night they claim they met, the man said. No sign of Cruz at the gala. Sterling was there, sure, alone. He was on shift across town. And the board dinner? Daniel asked. The investigator hesitated. They looked solid, he said. Kid seems attached. Sterling and Cruz behaved like a couple. Hard to say where the acting stops. Daniel smiled without humor. Everyone is acting when something is at stake, he said. Send everything to my counsel. Every frame, every note. He set the phone down and stared at the blank wall opposite his desk. His reflection stared back, stretched faintly in the dark glass. He pictured Ava in her penthouse with a borrowed husband and a child that did not belong to her. He rested his hand on the folder. You always did like to improvise, he said softly. Far above the city and the penthouse that had become their stage and shelter, the only drama that afternoon was in the kitchen. No, Lily said, frowning at the bowl. That is too much salt. It is a pinch, Ava said. It is a handful, Lily said. She reached out and pinched her own fingers together. This is a pinch. Flour dusted the countertop. The oven warmed the room, sending out waves of heat that made the air feel thicker than usual. A bag of chocolate chips lay open, a few, missing the evidence of small thefts visible on Lily's mouth. Noah watched from the other side of the island, sleeves rolled up, feeling more at ease here than he had at any formal dinner. You heard the expert, he said. Smaller pinch. Ava rolled her eyes, but adjusted the amount of salt. I run a company of 1,800 people, she said. I should be allowed to oversalt cookies. Not if you want anyone to eat them, Noah said. Lily giggled, leaning over the bowl to stir. The spoon was almost too big for her hand, but she kept the rhythm steady. What if they taste bad, she asked. Then we pretend they taste good, Noah said. We have practice with pretending. She made a face at him. I only pretend about the marriage thing for grown-ups, she said, not about cookies. The words hung there for a second. Ava's hand paused on the bag of sugar. Right, Noah said, not about cookies. They spooned dough onto the tray. The oven door opened with a rush of hot air. Ava slid the tray inside, closed it, and set the timer. The three of them sat on the floor in front of the oven, watching through the glass as the small mounds flattened and spread. The heat blurred their edges, turned them gold. It's like lava, Lily said, but yummy. That is one way to look at it, Noah said. Ava hugged her knees, resting her chin on them. My mother used to bake once a year, she said, eyes on the cookies. Christmas if she was not working. We would crowd around the oven like this. We did not have a window that big to look at. Did you burn them? Lily asked. Every time, Ava said. She left them in because she got distracted on the phone with her sister. We ate them anyway. The timer beeped. Noah stood, grabbed an oven mitt, and took the tray out. The cookies were not perfect circles. Some had merged into shapes like puzzle pieces. A few edges were darker than ideal. They look like continents, Lily said. New cookie world. Noah put them on the rack to cool. The smell filled the kitchen, rich and sweet. Lily bounced on her toes. Can we eat them now? She asked. Wait, Ava said. They will burn your tongue. You burn your tongue on them, Lily said. I will wait. Ava raised an eyebrow. Fair, she said. Later, after the cookie crumbs had been wiped up, And Lily had been wrestled through a bath, she declared too splashy, and read 2 stories instead of one the apartment settled. Lily slept with the stuffed otter under one arm and the whale's fin under the other. The nightlight cast soft shapes on her walls. Noah closed her door gently and walked down the hall. The lights in the living room were dimmed. The city outside was a curtain of scattered glitter. Ava stood by the floor-to-ceiling glass barefoot, a glass of wine in hand. She wore soft clothes now, an old t-shirt and sweatpants that did not seem like things the public ever saw. In the glass, her reflection overlapped the city lights, faint and doubled. "She likes you," Noah said. Ava did not turn, but he saw her straighten slightly. "Children like anyone who gives them sugar and listens to their stories," she said. "That is not true," he said. "She has a pretty good filter." "She also trusts anyone you tell her to trust," Ava said. "That is a responsibility." He came to stand beside her, leaving a polite distance between them. Their reflections lined up almost shoulder to shoulder on the glass. "It could be worse," he said. "She could think Ray is her real father." "Ray would make an excellent father," Ava said. "He is punctual." Noah laughed quietly. She took a sip of wine, then held the glass in both hands. "Monica called," she said. "Daniel has hired Whitmore." "Is that a problem?" he asked. "They are good at what they do," she said. "They find cracks. They dig in them." She pressed her forehead lightly against the glass, exhaling toward the dark. "He will get everything," she said. "Security footage, financial transfers, email timestamps. He will use them like a story." "We have a story too," Noah said. "You and Monica built it." "This one is older," she said, "and I built it myself." He waited. "You know the worst thing I have done," she said. "At least some of it." "I know what you told me," he said. "About your sister, about Miguel." The name felt heavy in his mouth, but he said it anyway. Ava's fingers tightened on the stem of the glass. "There are days I can go 3 hours without thinking about it," she said. "Then there are days when I cross a street and cannot move because I hear brakes in my head." The city below them was a network of glowing lines. Streets, bridges, pathways. Somewhere cars waited at red lights. Somewhere tires rolled through puddles. "How old is she now?" Noah asked. "Your sister." 30, Ava said. "She teaches middle school English in Boston. She lives in an apartment smaller than your old one. She rides the train. She has been sober for 7 years. "You talk a lot?" he asked. "Once a month," Ava said. "She calls. We pretend it is just to catch up. It is not. It is to check that the other one is still breathing." She took another sip, then set the glass on the low table near the window. "The night it happened," she said, "she called me from the side of the road. Her voice was so high I barely recognized it. She kept saying, 'I did not see him. I did not see him.'" Noah could see it, even without wanting to. A wet street, headlights, a flash of someone stepping, running, stopping. "I could have called the police," Ava said. "I should have. Instead, I called a lawyer." She made a small, bitter sound in the back of her throat. "I told myself I was buying the family time," she said. "Time without reporters knocking on their door, time without trial dates. Really, I was buying my sister's freedom and my own illusion that I was still a good person." He listened. He did not interrupt. "I met with them," she said. "Miguel's parents, in their kitchen. The walls were yellow. There was a picture of him on the fridge with a magnet shaped like a soccer ball. His mother did not look at me the entire time." Her voice had gone quiet, the kind of quiet that comes after shouting "not before." "I signed papers," she said. "They signed papers. Money moved. The case closed. I went back to work the next day and pretended nothing had shifted." "But it had," Noah said. "Everything had," she said. She lifted her hands and pressed her palms flat against the glass. Her fingerprints left brief, misty marks before fading. "I built this place," she said. "Bought this view. Filled it with things that do not stain. You spill wine on this rug, it wipes clean." She looked at her own reflection. "There are things that do not wipe clean," she said, "no matter how much you scrub." He thought of her in the conference room talking about stability and anchors. He thought of himself in hollow hallways at 3 a.m, mopping up spills after people who never saw him. "You live with it," he said. "That is what people do. They live with what they have done and try to be less of an idiot tomorrow." "You make it sound simple," she said. "It is not simple," he said. "It is just the only option I know." A siren wailed somewhere below, then faded. Rain ticked against the glass again, gentle now. "Do you think it changes anything?" she asked. "If I tell the truth about it before Daniel does?" "He will still try to spin it," Noah said. "He will say you hide things." "I did hide it," she said. "Then you stopped," he said. His hand moved almost on its own. He reached out not for her shoulder, not for her waist, but for her hand on the glass. His fingers touched the side of her palm, then settled over it. Her skin felt cool from the glass warmer underneath. She did not pull away. Her head tilted just enough that he could see her profile. The sharp line of her nose, the set of her mouth, the tension in her jaw. "I am not asking you to excuse it," she said. "I know," he said. "You are just saying it out loud in front of someone who is not paid to keep you out of prison." She let out a breath that might have been a laugh, might have been a sob cut in half. "Monica would prefer I never speak at all," she said. "Monica can deal with it," he said. They stood there for a while, palms sharing the same space on the cool glass city lights, smearing around their combined reflection. In another room, Lily turned over in her sleep, reaching for her otter. Her small hand landed on soft fur and stayed there, trusting the shape under her cheek. In the living room, under the weight of things that would never fully wash away, two adults allowed themselves to be seen a little more clearly. The morning of the board meeting started before sunrise. Noah woke to the sound of rain against the windows and the faint clink of porcelain from the kitchen. For a disoriented moment, he thought he was in his old apartment, that the noise was the upstairs neighbor dropping something again. Then he opened his eyes and saw the faint outline of the city through the curtains, high and distant. He pulled on a shirt and stepped into the hallway. The lights were low. Lily's door was half open. When he peeked in, she was still asleep, a lump under her blanket hair, a dark tangle on the pillow. In the kitchen, Ava stood in front of the counter, pouring coffee into a travel mug. She wore a charcoal suit, the jacket already buttoned. Her hair was in its tight knot, again face clean of expression. The softness of t-shirts and sweatpants had vanished. A second mug steamed on the counter beside her. "Morning," Noah said. "Morning," she replied. Her voice was even, too even. He took the second mug. "You slept at all?" he asked. "A little," she said. "Enough." She checked her watch. The gesture was automatic, familiar, like someone touching a scar they no longer noticed. "Monica will meet us there," she said. "Dr. Park, too." "Do you want me in the room the whole time?" he asked. "I need you in the room," she said. "You are half of the case, more than half if Daniel has his way." He watched her snap the lid onto the travel mug. Her hands did not shake, but he could see tension in her shoulders, a tightness at the corner of her mouth. "Lily," he asked. "Maria is coming to take her to school," Ava said. "She will be here in 20 minutes. They stood for a moment in the quiet kitchen. The refrigerator hummed. Somewhere pipes knocked softly. Rain ticked against the glass in small, steady beats. "You ready?" he asked. "No," she said, "but that has never stopped me before." Maria arrived with her usual warm laugh and a scarf that smelled like laundry soap. She accepted the instructions for Lily's day with a nod and a reassuring squeeze of Noah's arm. "We will do fine," she said. "You go do your big important things." Lily shuffled out, hair messy, clutching the otter. "You are both wearing your serious clothes," she said. "Is it court again?" "Something like that," Noah said. "A meeting." She studied their faces. "Is it the man who makes you mad?" she asked Ava. "Which one?" Ava asked. "The one from the phone calls," Lily said, with the voice like a robot. Ava's mouth curved. "Yes," she said, "it is that man." Lily frowned, then stepped forward and wrapped her arms around Ava's waist. "You can do it," she said. "You do hard things all the time." Ava's hand went to the back of Lily's head, fingers sliding into her hair. "I will do my best," she said. Lily hugged Noah, too brief and fierce. "Bring back good news," she said. "We will try," he said. The drive to Zenith felt shorter than usual. Rain streaked the windows. Traffic moved in its usual stop and start rhythm. Inside the car, the air was close with quiet. Ava stared ahead. Monica sat beside her tablet on her lap, lips moving as she went through points in her head. Noah sat behind them, watching the city pass. When they reached the building, the security guard at the underground entrance straightened. Noah saw the recognition in his face, the quick flicker of curiosity when he spotted Noah in the back seat. They took the executive elevator. Noah watched the numbers climb on the display. 12, 20, 30, 40. His palms were damp. He had pushed a cart across this floor hundreds of times. He had never walked into a board meeting. The executive floor was not quiet today. People moved in the hallway, talking in low tones, carrying folders and laptops. A receptionist greeted them with a polite smile that did not reach her eyes and guided them to the large conference room. Inside, the long table glowed under recessed lights. Floor-to-ceiling glass made one wall. The city spread beyond it, gray and washed out, as if it too was holding its breath. Board members were already seated or standing in small clusters. Ellen spoke with Victor near the window. Laura stood beside him, hand on his arm. Harriet sat alone reading something on her phone. Daniel stood at the far end of the room with two lawyers. He wore a dark suit and a tie that was just bright enough to draw the eye. His hair was perfectly in place. His expression was relaxed in a practiced way. When Ava and Noah entered, his gaze tracked them. "Here they are," he said lightly, "the happy couple." Victor's jaw tightened. "Daniel," he said, "we will keep this civil." "I am always civil," Daniel said. "I leave the shouting to others." The chair of the board, a man named Jonas Reed, cleared his throat and took his seat at the head of the table. "Let us begin," he said. "We have a lot to cover." People settled. Chairs scraped softly. Laptops were opened. Coffee cups were pulled closer. Monica and Dr. Park sat along the side wall near the far end. Noah took a seat next to Ava, halfway down the table. He could feel Daniel's eyes on him for a moment before they shifted away. Jonas opened a folder. "As you all know," he said, "Mr. Kincaid has requested that we reconsider Ms. Sterling's position as chief executive. Today we will hear his concerns and Ms. Sterling's response. We will ask questions, then we will vote." He looked at Daniel. "Mr. Kincaid," he said, "you may present." Daniel stood and walked closer to the screen on the wall. A small device in his hand lit up as he clicked. The screen showed the Zenith logo, then shifted to a slide with the word pattern at the top. "I spent 10 years building this company with Ava," Daniel said. "I know her strengths. I know her habits. I know when those habits become dangerous." He clicked again. Images appeared. Screenshots of emails sent at 2:30 in the morning. Calendar entries that showed back-to-back-to-back meetings. Graphs of hours spent in the building. "Ava has always worked hard," he said. "That is not a crime. It is why we grew. But there is a difference between dedication and obsession." He clicked. The slide changed to a chart of employee turnover, then to a list of exits at the executive level. "She does not delegate," he said. "She isolates. She pushes people away when they disagree. She has no life outside this building, no anchors, no relationships that do not serve the company." Noah sat very still. He watched the way board members' eyes moved, tracing the charts, glancing at Ava. "That was true," Daniel continued, "until I filed suit." He clicked again. The screen showed a copy of the marriage license, then a photo from the company event where Ava and Noah had made their first public appearance together in front of staff. Lily clung to Noah's leg. Ava's hand rested on Lily's shoulder. It was a good picture. 3 weeks after my lawsuit, Daniel said, she produced this. A husband, a child, a life. He changed the slide. Dates appeared, marriage certificate filed, large bank transfer initiated, Noah's promotion entered in the HR system. "You all know how to read patterns," he said to the board. "You are investors. You see cause and effect. I see a woman who realized she needed a narrative and built one in a hurry." He clicked again. Security footage filled the screen, grainy, black and white. The executive floor at night months ago. Noah pushing a cart past a conference room. The timestamp glowed at the bottom. "This is the first time Noah Cruz appears on the executive floor," Daniel said. 3 months ago. No contact with Ava, no long courtship, no quiet private romance. Another clip. The night of the elevator. Noah in the hallway, the cart the conference room. Ava stepping out of the elevator. Their first recorded interaction. "And this," Daniel said, "is the night he brought his daughter to work. The night Ava found them. The night everything changed." The image froze with Ava and Noah facing each other in the hallway. "You brought a man into your home that you did not know 3 weeks before," Daniel said, turning to the board. "You married him. You moved his child into your penthouse. You rewrote your life overnight because you thought it would protect you." He let the words hang. "That is not stability, Dold," he said. "That is compromised judgment. That is fear." Jonas looked down the table. "Thank you, Mr. Kincaid," he said. "Ms. Sterling, your response?" Ava stood slowly. She looked smaller standing than sitting, but also somehow more solid. "Everything you saw just now is technically accurate," she said. "The timing, the transfers, the promotion. I am not here to argue with timestamps." She turned to face the board more directly. "I am here to explain what they do not show," she said. She spoke about the gala and the volunteer shift Noah had worked there, folding the script Monica had built into the truth of what had come after. She talked about noticing his work long before the security cameras caught them in the same frame, about wanting something in her life that was not measured in revenue. "I am not going to pretend the timing is not convenient," she said. "It is. I needed him. He needed me. We made a choice." "And the money?" Harriet asked. Her tone was sharp, but there was less acid in it than there might have been a week ago. "I paid him for upheaval," Ava said, for leaving his old life, for trust, for the disruption to his daughter. That money did not come from the company. It came from my personal account. You have the statements. Daniel made a small scoffing sound. Romantic, he said. A transaction turned into vows. There was a rustle down the table. Jonas shot him a look. We will hear from Dr. Park now, Jonas said. Dr. Helen Park stood. She was in her early 60s with short salt and pepper hair and a calm, clear gaze. She wore a navy blazer and held a slim folder. I am a licensed family therapist, she said. For the past 2 weeks, I have conducted sessions with Ms. Sterling, Mr. Cruz, and Lily Cruz, joint and individual. She spoke in plain terms, no jargon. She described what she had observed. I have seen Lily seek Ms. Sterling out for comfort, Dr. Park said. I have seen Ms. Sterling adjust her work schedule to be home for dinner. I have seen disagreements handled with respect, not avoidance. She looked at Daniel. I am familiar with relationships created for legal convenience, she said. This is not what that looks like. She was hired by Ava, Daniel said. Her opinion is not neutral. I was recommended by the court, Dr. Park said. My work is independent. If I lie, I lose my license. Harriet leaned forward. Doctor, she said, if this marriage started with fear and strategy, can it still be considered legitimate in your eyes? Many marriages start with less, Dr. Park said. I am not here to define the word legitimate. I am here to tell you that in my professional opinion, this family unit is real in its function, whatever its origin. It should have helped. It did help visibly with some of the board. Shoulders unknotted, pens stopped tapping. Daniel did not sit back down. You are all very moved, he said. And maybe that is enough for you. It is not enough for me. He picked up a different folder from the table and opened it. Ava wants to talk about what she has changed, he said. I would like to talk about what she has hidden. He walked closer to the screen again, remote in hand. 8 years ago, he said. On a wet night in January, a 19-year-old named Miguel Alvarez left his job at a grocery store and started walking home. He clicked. A police report appeared on the screen. Case number, date, time. The text was small, but the bold lines were visible. On his way, he was struck by a car on Aurora Avenue, Daniel said. I died at the scene. Noah felt his stomach drop. He had heard the story already in Ava's voice in the quiet of the penthouse. Hearing it here in Daniel's felt like being pulled into cold water. The car did not stay, Daniel said. It drove away, a hit and run. He clicked again. A photo appeared, not of Miguel, but of a crumpled fender and a dark stain on wet asphalt captured in the harsh light of a street lamp. The driver, Daniel said, was Sarah Sterling, Ava's younger sister. Silence fell heavy over the table. Ava did not call the police, Bowers, he said. She called a lawyer, she met with Miguel's family, she paid them to keep quiet. She used money and influence to make a death disappear from the public record. He changed the slide. A settlement agreement came up Ava's name on the line for payer. This is who you have leading your company, he said, turning back to the board. Someone who believes that if you have enough money, consequences are optional. Someone who will hide a crime to protect her own. Jonas looked at Ava, face grave. Is this true? He asked. Ava's hands were on the table. Her knuckles were white. Yes, she said. Her voice was low, but it did not shake. There was a rustle of shocked movement. Ellen's hand went to her mouth. Victor swore softly under his breath. Harriet's eyes closed briefly and opened again. Why? Jonas asked. Did you never disclose this when we hired you? Because I was not proud of it, Ava said. Because it did not involve the company. Because I did not want Miguel to become a line item in my career. Daniel spread his hands. That is a nice sentiment, he said. It does not change what you did. Noah stood before he realized he was moving. The chair legs scraped on the floor. Mr. Cruz, Jonas said, this is highly sensitive. Perhaps this is not the time. It is exactly the time, Noah said. His heart was pounding, but his voice came out steady. He looked at Daniel. You keep saying his name like it is a weapon, he said. Miguel. You say it because you want them to see a stain on her, and forget the part where you watched it dry for 8 years. A muscle jumped in Daniel's jaw. You knew, Noah said. You were married to her. You knew and you stayed. You knew and you said nothing until it suited you. That is not the same thing, Daniel said. It is exactly the same thing, Noah said. You talk about justice, but you are using that boy's death as a bullet in a corporate argument. He turned to the board. I clean floors, he said. That is my job. I scrub out coffee spills and pen marks and whatever people drop on marble. There are things that come right out if you hit them fast. Other things sink in. He laid his palm flat on the table, as if it were one of those floors. I am not going to stand here and tell you what she did was right, he said. It was not. A kid died. His family lost him, and she helped keep her sister out of jail. He could feel Ava beside him, still as glass. But I am not going to pretend you are hearing this from someone who cares about that kid more than he cares about revenge, he said, nodding at Daniel. That is what this is. Not justice. Anger. He took a breath. You want to fire her because she works too much, he asked. Because she pushes people. Because she made a choice 10 years ago that you do not like. That is your call. You are the board. You like to talk about risk. Here is what I have seen. She has carried this every day since it happened. It is in her bones. She can barely cross a street without thinking about it. And she still shows up here every day to keep this entire place running. He spread his fingers on the table. You want to know who she is now? He said. Look at that, not at what Daniel remembered how to profit from. Harriet's eyes were on him. So were Ellen's, Victor's, Jonas's. Ellen spoke first. Daniel, she said, when did you find out about this accident? He hesitated. It was the smallest delay but noticeable. I told you, he said. We were married. I knew at the time. And you did not report it, Ellen said. You did not come to the board. You did not go to the police. It was not a company matter, he said. She convinced me. So, you were complicit, Victor said. You helped keep it quiet. You are at best a witness who chose convenience. Daniel's shoulders tightened. That does not absolve her, he said. No, Victor said. It does not. It does, however, make your timing suspect. Thomas, another board member near the far end, spoke up. Also, he said, if I remember my law correctly, any criminal liability for obstruction is long past the statute of limitations. So this is not about charges, Ellen said. It is about image. Jonas sighed. We have heard enough, he said quietly. He looked at Ava. You should have told us, he said. We do not like surprises. I know, she said. You had a right to know. Miguel's family had a right to more than money. I cannot change the way I handled it then. I can try to handle it differently now. Jonas nodded once. Then he turned to the table. We will take a vote, he said. All those in favor of retaining Ms. Sterling as CEO. Hands went up. Ellen's first, then Victor's, Thomas's. One by one, most of the others followed. Harriet stared at the table for a long moment, then lifted her hand too, as if it weighed more than the others. Jonas counted. The motion to remove Ms. Sterling fails, he said. She remains CEO. The air in the room shifted. Some people exhaled. Daniel did not move. He looked at Ava. His eyes were colder now. You think this is done? He said softly. You have no idea what else is buried in your own story. He picked up his folders and walked toward the door. As he passed Noah and Ava, he leaned slightly closer. You have chosen interesting company, he said to her. Let us see how steady he is when he knows everything. Then he was gone, the door closing behind him with a soft click. Conversation started up in low murmurs. Chairs scraped back. People gathered their things. Ava remained standing, both hands still pressed to the table, as if she needed it to keep her upright. Her reflection in the glass wall looked paler, thinner, the city behind her too bright. Noah moved his hand until it touched hers. She flinched, then stilled. They know now, he said quietly. They know one piece, she said. Her voice sounded worn. It feels like my spine has been peeled open and laid on the table. He did not offer comfort that minimized it. He just left his hand where it was covering hers on the smooth wood. The boardroom that had once felt like a distant world was suddenly just a room with chairs and papers and people trying to decide which stains to pay attention to. Outside, beyond the glass, the rain had stopped. The street shone with what it had left behind. The hallway outside the boardroom felt colder than the room they had just left. Ava walked straight, shoulders squared, until Jonas excused himself and Ellen squeezed her arm once. Victor nodded to Noah in passing. Harriet gave them a long look that Noah could not read, then turned away. Monica was waiting by the far wall, tablet pressed to her chest. This way, she said quietly. She led them into a smaller conference room, one of the ones Noah used to vacuum, without ever knowing who sat inside. Frosted glass muted the view of the hallway. The table was round, not long, the chairs less impressive. The door closed with a soft click. Ava stopped. Her hands, which had been steady on the big table, went slack at her sides. Color drained out of her face. For a second, Noah thought she might actually fall. He stepped closer without thinking. Sit, Monica said. The sharpness in her voice was different than usual. Both of you. Ava did not move. They know, she said. All of them. They saw the report. They saw the photo. They heard you say his name. Miguel, the boy on the wet street, the photo on the fridge. Noah pulled a chair out and guided it against the backs of her knees. She let herself fold into it as if someone had unplugged her. "I spent 8 years keeping that out of rooms like this," she said, staring at the blank wall. 8 years making sure no one connected my name to his. And now it is in the minutes of a board meeting. "It was always going to come out," Monica said. She sat across from them, voice calm again. "Better here than in a headline." Ava laughed once short and without humor. "Spoken like a woman who has never stood in front of a headline with her name in it," she said. Monica did not flinch. "You are still CEO," she said. "The vote went in your favor. Daniel lost." "I lost too," Ava said, "just in a different currency." Her hands were on her skirt now, fingers twisting the fabric. "I watched their faces," she said, "when he said Miguel's name, when he said Sarah's. It felt like watching them step away from me one at a time." "They did not step away," Noah said. "They raised their hands." "Only because Daniel waited too long," she said. "If he had gone to them 8 years ago, I would never have gotten the job." "Maybe," Monica said. "Or maybe they would have seen a 29-year-old who made a terrible choice and then spent the next decade trying to hold everyone else up." Ava closed her eyes. "Please do not spin me," she said. "Not in here." Monica's expression softened. "I am not spinning," she said. "I am telling you that you walked into that room with a target on your back and walked out with your job. That is not nothing." "It does not bring him back," Ava said. "It does not undo the sick feeling I had when Daniel put that photo on the screen." Noah remembered the image. Wet asphalt, crumpled metal, a dark stain. He could still feel the way the room had tightened around it. "Nothing undoes it," he said. Ava opened her eyes and looked at him. There was no CEO in her expression now, only a woman who had been holding too much for too long. "Why are you here?" she asked him quietly. "You heard all of it. You know what I did. You know what I kept from you." She did not sound accusatory, just tired, curious. He thought about it. He could have given a simple answer because of Lily, because of money, because of the contract. All of that was true. None of it was complete. "Because you did not run," he said. "Because you stood there and said yes when Jonas asked if it was true. Because you told me about it before Daniel did." "That was self-preservation," she said. "Maybe," he said. "Maybe it was also trust." Monica gathered her tablet and stood. "You two can argue about philosophy later," she said. "Right now you need to go home, eat something, sleep." Ava snorted. "You talk to all your clients like misbehaving children," she asked. "Only the ones who think they are bulletproof," Monica said. She touched Ava's shoulder quick and unexpected. "You did well," she said. "For someone who hates vulnerability, you did exceptionally well today." Then she was gone, leaving them alone in the quiet room. Ava stared at the door for a moment, as if expecting it to open again. When it did not, she leaned forward and rested her forearms on the table. Her head dropped, the hair slipping loose around her face. Noah moved his chair closer. The wheels made a soft sound on the carpet. He rested his hand near hers on the table, not touching, close enough that she could if she wanted. It took a while, long enough for the silence to stop feeling fragile. Then slowly she turned her hand and let her fingers slide into his. The grip started loose, then tightened. She did not sob dramatically. That was not who she was. The only sign at first was the way her shoulders shook once, then again. When the first tear hit the table, she made a sound in her throat, angry at herself. He squeezed her hand, said nothing. They stayed like that until her breathing evened out, until she had wiped under her eyes with the heel of her hand and composed her face enough to move. "Take me home," she said. Ray drove in silence. The city blurred past, wet and muted. Ava sat forward in her seat, elbows on her knees, hands clasped like she was still at the board table. Noah watched the lines of her face in the reflections of passing lights. When they stepped out of the elevator into the penthouse, it smelled like cinnamon. Maria was in the kitchen, hair tied back, sleeves rolled to the elbow. A mixing bowl sat in front of her. Lily stood on a chair at the counter, dusted in flour. "You are back," Lily said, eyes bright. "We made things." "Cookies," Maria said. "For brave people." The sight of them knocked something loose in Noah's chest. He wondered if Ava felt it too. Lily wiped her hands on her apron and ran to them. "So," she asked, "did the bad guys win?" Ava looked down at her. For a second, Noah saw her search for language that would fit a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old secret. "They did not win today," Ava said. "That is good enough for now." Lily considered this, then nodded. "Okay," she said. "You can have 3 cookies then." "Only 3, Noah asked. "4 if you are very, very brave," Lily said. Maria smiled, eyes soft, and returned to the oven. They washed their hands. The warm water felt grounding on Noah's skin. He watched Ava at the sink sleeves, pushed back water running over her fingers like she could rinse the boardroom from them. At the counter, a tray of cookies cooled. They were not as uniform as the ones from the caterer. Some edges were darker. A few had chocolate chips clumped on one side. They smelled better. Lily handed one to Ava first. "This one," she said. "The broken one. It still tastes good." Ava took it. For a moment she just looked at it as if it were a test. Then she bit. Crumbs clung to her lower lip. "It is excellent," she said. "Maybe a pinch too much salt." Lily grinned. "That was me," she said. They ate standing up around the island. Warm, cookie-cold milk, the hum of the refrigerator, the distant murmur of traffic far below. The normalcy wrapped around the jagged edges of the day like a soft cloth. "What did the doctor lady say?" Lily asked, mouth full. "The one who came to talk to us." "Dr. Park?" Noah asked. "She went with you to your meeting," Lily said. "I saw her in the lobby when Maria picked me up." "She told everyone you were stuck with us," Ava said. "Professionally?" Lily liked that answer. She nodded vigorously, crumbs scattering. "Good," she said. "I already made a picture with you in it. It would be weird to erase you." When Maria took Lily to finish her homework, the apartment quieted again. Cookie smell lingered. Ava stood by the sink rinsing plates that were not truly dirty. Noah leaned against the counter, arms folded loosely. "You know what you said last week?" Noah asked, "about heat and cookies, about how they change when it gets hot, but they are still good." Her hands stilled under the water. "I said the butter melts and the dough relaxes," she said. "That is just chemistry. Still feels like something else," he said. "Today felt like heat." She shut off the tap and dried her hands slowly. "Monica called while you were in the bathroom," she said. "After we got home." "Already?" he asked. "She never stops." "Apparently not," Ava said. She picked up her phone and slid it across the counter to him. A recent call log showed Monica's number at the top. "She got a call," Ava said, "from someone I did not expect." "Who?" he asked. "Rosa Alvarez," Ava said, "Miguel's mother." The name seemed to thicken the air for a moment. "She saw the news," Ava said, "about Daniel's suit, about the board meeting. Somehow she found Monica's name. She wants to talk." Noah straightened. "To you?" he asked. "Who else?" she said. "What did Monica say?" he asked. "That I am under no obligation," Ava said. "That any meeting would be risky. That there is no legal upside." "And what do you say?" he asked. Ava stared past him toward the window. The city lights were starting to blink on one by one as daylight thinned. "I told her to set it up," she said. "I owe them more than money and silence." He nodded slowly. "Where?" he asked. "Small restaurant in the South Side," she said. "Tomorrow night." She picked it. "Monica will lurk at another table to make sure I do not implode." "Do you want me there?" he asked. She looked at him then. "Would you come?" she asked. "If you want me to," he said. "If you want to walk into that room with someone who knows the story already." She exhaled. "Yes," she said. "I do." The restaurant the next evening was warm and close, and smelled like fried tortillas and grilled meat. The walls were painted bright blue. Strings of paper banners hung from the ceiling, their edges moving in the soft breeze from a ceiling fan. A family sat at a corner table, 3 kids sharing a basket of chips, their laughter loud and unself-conscious. A television above the bar played a muted soccer match. Rosa sat in a booth near the back facing the door. She wore a simple blouse and a cardigan, her dark hair pulled back. The lines on her face were deep, but not harsh. A small cross hung at her throat. She watched them walk in. Noah felt her eyes on them like a weight. Monica was already there at a table by the window, a glass of water untouched in front of her. She gave a small nod that said she would be close, not intrusive. Ava paused at the edge of the booth. "Mrs. Alvarez," she said. Her voice was softer than Noah had ever heard it in a professional setting. Rosa looked at her for a long moment. Then she nodded. "Sit," she said. They slid into the booth. Ava on one side, Noah on the other, across from Rosa. For a few seconds no one spoke. The clink of dishes, the hiss from the kitchen, the murmur of Spanish and English around them filled the gap. "I saw your face on the news," Rosa said finally. Her accent rounded the words. "I knew that face. Older now. Different clothes. Same eyes." Ava swallowed. "I am sorry," she said. "For everything." "That is why you come?" Rosa asked. "To say sorry." "Partly," Ava said. "Partly because I have hidden behind money for too long. It is time I looked you in the eye without a lawyer in the room." Rosa's gaze flicked briefly to Monica in the corner, then back. "You brought someone?" she said. "This is my husband," Ava said. "Noah." Rosa studied him. "You know about my son?" she asked Noah. "Some," he said. "What Ava told me. what Daniel threw on a screen. People throw things when they are angry, Rosa said. They do not always care who it hits. She opened her purse and took out a small, worn photograph. The edges were frayed, the colors faded. She slid it across the table. Miguel looked back at them. 17 in the picture, maybe. Dark hair, wide smile, a green jersey with a number on it. He wanted to be an engineer, Rosa said. He took apart the radio when he was 12 and put it back together. It worked better afterward. Ava's fingers shook as she picked up the photo. Her thumb brushed the corner gently. I saw this on your fridge, she said. That night. Rosa's mouth pressed into a line. You remember my kitchen, she said. Do you remember what you said there? I said I was sorry, Ava said. I said I would make sure you did not have to stand in court and listen to people talk about your son like he was a case file. Rosa nodded. And you handed me a check, she said, with more zeros than I had ever seen. You looked at the spoon in the sugar bowl instead of at me. Ava closed her eyes briefly. Yes, she said. It kept our house, Rosa said. Paid for my other sons to go to college. It did what money does. It softened some things, not the important one. Her hands rested on the table, palms up. I hated you, she said simply, for a long time, for walking into my kitchen in your nice coat and talking about tragedy like it was weather. Ava flinched. You have a sister, Rosa said. I have sons. We are both mothers. I know why you did it. That is the worst part. I know exactly why. Her eyes shone, but she did not wipe them. Your sister writes me, she said, every year on the day he died. Little letters, always the same. I am sorry. I pray for him. I teach my students to look both ways. A small smile ghosted her mouth. She sends small checks, Rosa said. $50, $100 for my grandkids. She writes his name, not just your son, Miguel. Ava's hands curled into fists. I did not know she wrote, Ava said. She did not want you to, Rosa said. She said you had enough ghosts of your own. Silence again. The soccer match on the television showed players running, bodies colliding, the ball a blur. I do not forgive you because you are sorry, Rosa said. I do not forgive you because you gave us money. I do not even know if forgiveness is the right word. She looked at Ava steadily. But I know that hating you does not bring him back, she said. And I know you have carried this in your chest for 8 years. That is its own punishment. Ava's eyes filled. She blinked hard. What can I do? She asked, voice barely above the noise of the restaurant. That is not just more money. Rosa thought for a moment. Say his name, she said. Not in court, not in a meeting, alone, in your kitchen. Say it when you are not trying to convince anyone of anything. She leaned back. And do something good in his name, she said. Use your big building and your money people to open a door for kids like him. He wanted to build things. Help someone else build instead. Ava nodded, tears slipping down now despite her effort. I can do that, she said. I will do that. Rosa reached across the table and took Ava's hand. Her grip was warm and firm. I believe you, she said. You are stubborn. I can see it. A small laugh cracked through Ava's tears. Comes from my mother, she said. Mine too, Rosa said. Zosa said. They sat there for a while, hand in hand, two women bound by a road they would have both chosen to avoid. When they stepped out into the cool night air afterward, the sky was clearing. The streets were damp, reflecting neon signs and street lamps. Ava walked to the car slowly. Her jaw was set, but her eyes were swollen. In the back seat, she let her head fall back against the rest. Her hands lay open in her lap, fingers relaxed for the first time since the boardroom. You okay? Noah asked quietly. No, she said. Not really. She turned her head toward him. But I am glad I went, she said. For the first time, it feels like he is a person in my story, not only a mistake. He thought of the photograph, the green jersey, the worn edges. She is right, Noah said. You cannot change what happened. You can decide what you do with it. Do not start sounding like Monica, Ava said. Monica would charge extra for that line, he said. A small smile ghosted across her face. Outside, the city moved around them, indifferent and alive. Inside the car, under the dim dome light, the air felt different. Lighter and heavier at the same time. Heat had pushed against old shapes. Some of them had started to shift. The week slipped past in a blur of small changes. Ava started working with HR on a scholarship idea in Miguel's name. She came home earlier more often, her laptop staying closed until Lily had gone to bed. Noah found himself fixing a leaky faucet in the guest bathroom, like it was the most natural thing in the world. Some days the board meeting felt like it belonged to another lifetime. Other days, a certain flicker in Ava's eyes, or the way she hesitated crossing a street, told him it was close under the surface. On Friday afternoon, Monica arrived with a stack of folders and the air of someone about to rearrange furniture. The penthouse was quiet. Lily was still at school. Maria had the day off. Rain tapped at the windows in an irregular rhythm. Monica set the folders on the kitchen island and looked around. "It is less sterile than the first time I came," she said. "This is an improvement." "There are crayons in the couch cushions," Noah said. "Consider it texture." Ava leaned against the counterarms, folded sleeves of her blouse rolled to the elbows. "You said on the phone we needed to sign final paperwork," she said. "That phrase is never good." Monica opened the top folder. The crisp shuffle of paper sounded loud in the open space. "The contract we drafted," Monica said, "the one that formalized your arrangement dates payments expectations. It expires tonight at midnight." Noah had known it was coming. He had seen the date every time he glanced at the copy tucked in his nightstand. Still, the word expires landed like a small drop of something cold on his spine. "So, after midnight," he said, "what are we legally speaking?" "Legally speaking, you are still married," Monica said. "The contract governed the terms of your cooperation. It did not create or end the marriage. That is a separate piece of paper." She pulled out another packet and laid it on the marble. "These are annulment documents," she said. "If you both sign and file them, the court will treat this as if the marriage never happened. Clean slate, useful if you decide this has served its purpose." Ava looked at the papers without reaching for them. "And if we do not sign?" she asked. "Then you remain married," Monica said. "You could file for divorce later if things go wrong, but that is messier. Property timelines, all that. Marriage is easier to enter than to exit." Her tone stayed neutral. It was one of the things Noah respected about her. She was blunt without pushing. She pulled out a third sheet. "This is a simple amendment," she said. "It states that any financial obligations under the original contract have been fulfilled. No further payments owed, no penalties. If you stay married, you stay because you chose to, not because money is still moving." She slid a pen toward them, laying it between the stacks like a small, shiny choice. "Oh," she added, "before you decide whether to burn anything, a few updates." She flipped to another page, this one thinner, a printout with a case heading at the top. "Jennifer has agreed to the custody modification," she said. "Primary residence here, standard visitation over school breaks and part of summer. Child support reduced." Her lawyer was very practical once he saw your current salary and Ava's involvement. Noah let out a breath he had not realized he was holding. "When will it be official?" he asked. "A few weeks," Monica said. "Paperwork stamps the usual. For now, Mom assume it is settled." She opened another document. "And Daniel has managed to get himself arrested," she said. "Breaking and entering, theft of corporate documents, attempted blackmail. One of his investigators cut corners. There are emails. It is messy." Ava's eyebrows rose. "Of course," she said quietly. "His bail is high," Monica said. "He will fight, but his leverage is compromised. He will not be standing in any more boardrooms for a while." The idea of Daniel sitting in a holding cell somewhere, while they talked about dinner plans in a warm kitchen, felt strange. Not satisfying exactly, just skewed. "So," Monica said, tapping the annulment packet, "the immediate threats are reduced. The court piece is in your favor. Daniel is busy elsewhere. You are no longer performing under duress." She gestured at both of them. "Whatever you decide now is not about fear," she said. "It is about preference." Ava's fingers drummed once on the counter, then stilled. "What do you recommend?" she asked. Monica met her eyes. "I recommend you be honest," she said. "With each other first. The rest of us can deal with forms." She checked her watch. "I have another client who thinks she can hide assets in Bitcoin," she said. "So, I will leave these here." She closed the folders, leaving the 3 stacks arranged in a neat row. "Call me when you know," she said. After the elevator doors closed behind her, the apartment felt too quiet. Noah looked at the small pile of paper on the island. The annulment lay on top, heavy with fine print. The amendment for the contract sat beneath it, thinner. The pen glinted in the overhead light. He could hear the faint buzz of the refrigerator. Outside, a siren wailed far away, muffled by height and glass. "We should talk," Ava said. "Yeah," he said. "We should." They moved to the small table near the windows. Not the big dining table they used for guests and homework, but the round one where they drank coffee and ate toast. The city lay beyond the glass sunlight, smudged by clouds. Ava sat with her hands around a glass of water she did not drink. When we started this, she said, I picked you because you were desperate enough to say yes and steady enough to keep my lie from falling apart. He did not argue. It was true. I told myself I was giving you something too, she continued. Money, a better job, school for Lily. It made me feel less like a monster. You are not a monster, he said automatically. She gave him a look. You have not seen my inbox, she said. He smiled a little. It faded quickly. I do not want the marriage to just be another form of payment, she said. Another transaction I engineered and then dressed in pretty language. She looked down at her hands. I want you to have a real choice, she said. If you want out, I will sign whatever Monica puts in front of us. You keep the job, the salary, the school. That part was never conditional on you loving me, or pretending to love me. He studied her profile, the tightness around her eyes, the way her thumb rubbed the condensation on the glass back and forth, as if grinding out a thought. No one has ever offered me an exit like that, he said. Then you have been surrounded by people who like their leverage, she said. Consider this my attempt at doing something different. He leaned back in his chair, feeling the wood against his spine. His life, when he thought about it, had been a chain of reactions. His father got sick, so he left school. Jennifer got pregnant, so he got married. Rent went up, so he took night shifts. The babysitter canceled, so he brought Lily to work. Ava made an offer, so he said yes. He had been moving from disaster to patch, always one step behind the next leak. In college, he said slowly, I wanted to study mechanical engineering. She looked at him surprised at the change of subject. You told me community college, she said. You never said what you wanted to study. Machines, he said. The way things fit, how systems behave. I liked the idea that if you understood the structure, you could fix it. He tapped the edge of the table. Then my dad coughed blood into a sink, and understanding did not pay for chemo, he said. So I quit. I told myself there was no choice. There was a choice, she said gently. It just would have been a cruel one. Maybe, he said. Point is, for a long time I have done what seemed necessary, not what I wanted. It became a habit. This was supposed to be another necessary thing. 6 weeks. Keep Lily, survive the court date. He looked out at the city, then back at her. Somewhere in there, he said, it stopped feeling like a necessary evil and started feeling like the first thing I might actually be allowed to want. She watched him, eyes searching. What do you want? She asked. Seed. Her voice was soft, but there was something taut in it, hope and fear wound together. He thought about Lily's drawings on the fridge, the way her small hand slipped into Ava's when they crossed the lobby. He thought about Ava in front of the oven watching cookies spread, talking about her mother, about her sitting across from Rosa in that booth holding a photograph with careful fingers. I want this, he said, this life. This messy apartment in the sky with the crayons in the couch and the CEO who burns toast. I do not burn toast, she protested automatically. You almost burned garlic, he said. You get my point. A faint smile touched her mouth and faded. You are sure? She asked. You are not saying that because you think it is what I need to hear to keep you employed or because you feel sorry for me. He pushed his chair back and moved around the table kneeling, so they were at eye level. The wood was cool under his knee. The glass behind her reflected them both small and pale. Ava, he said, I am in love with you. The words felt simple once they were out, like they had been waiting. Her breath caught. Even knowing what you know, she asked. About Miguel, about the contract, about the way I backed you into a corner in that conference room. Especially because I know, he said. I fell in love with the woman who works herself to the bone for 1,800 people and still learns how to read to a 6-year-old without checking her phone. With the woman who sits with a grieving mother and listens instead of explaining herself. He shrugged slightly. And with the woman who can terrify a room full of billionaires, he added. That part is not nothing. A small, breathless laugh escaped her. I am trying to tell you something serious, she said. So am I, he said. Her eyes shone, but she did not look away. You know what scares me most? She asked. Not the board, not Daniel, not public scandals. I am scared that everything between us is just proximity and relief. That I am the first person to hand you a decent salary and a view, and you have mistaken gratitude for love. He considered that. It was not an unreasonable fear. I know the difference between relief and love, he said. Relief is what I felt when Monica said the custody deal was done, when she said Daniel was locked up, when we signed the last page of those contracts. He lifted one of her hands from the glass and held it. This feels like something else, he said. It does not go away when things are calm. It gets louder. Her hand tightened around his. "I am in love with you too," she said, "which terrifies me." She exhaled a shaky sound. "You were supposed to be a solution," she said, "a line in a narrative. I did not plan for my chest to feel like this when you walk into a room, or for Lily to start drawing me into pictures where I was not before." He leaned his forehead lightly against her knee. Her free hand went to his hair, fingers tentative at first, then surer. "So," he said, words muffled slightly, "what do we do with that?" She let go of his hand and stood. He straightened as she moved to the island. The folders sat where Monica had left them, edges aligned, pen waiting. Ava opened the annulment packet. The legal language lay there dense and cool. She picked up the pen. For a second, Noah's stomach clenched. Then she uncapped it and instead of signing, drew a firm line across the top page. It was not enough to void the document. The court would ignore the line, but the gesture said what it needed to. She set the pen down, took the annulment pages, and tore them cleanly in half. The sound was sharp in the quiet kitchen. Again, longwise this time, paper fluttered onto the island like oversized confetti. She looked at him over the torn sheets. "We started this marriage as a lie," she said. "I do not want to erase it. I want to rewrite it." He stepped closer. "Together," he said. "Together," she echoed. They both signed the simple amendment that ended the contract obligations. The ink was dark on the page, drying quickly. Noah felt something settle in him as he lifted his hand. Not a weight this time, a shape. The lock that had turned the night he signed in the conference room felt like it had clicked again in a different position. The elevator chimed. Lily burst in a minute later, backpack still on cheeks, flushed from the rush up from the lobby. "You are both home," she said, dropping the bag and kicking off her shoes in one motion. "Good." She hopped up on one of the stools at the island and spotted the torn paper. "Did you do arts and crafts without me?" she asked, indignant. "Lawyer crafts," Noah said. "Very boring." "It looks messy," she said. "I like it." Ava leaned on the counter. "Hey, Lily," she said. There was a new tone in her voice, nervous almost. Lily looked up. "What?" she asked. "We need to tell you something," Ava said. "When we first asked you to pretend we were a family, it was because of a job I had to do. That is not true anymore." Lily went very still. "So I can stop pretending?" she asked cautiously. "Yes," Ava said. "If you want, because now it is real." Lily frowned, processing. "You mean," she said slowly, "you are really married now, not just on paper for grown-ups." "We have been really married on paper since the courthouse," Noah said. "Now we are choosing to stay that way. On purpose." Lily looked from one of them to the other. Her eyes were serious in a way that always made Noah feel older. "Forever?" she asked. Bastasit. "As long as you will put up with us," Ava said. Lily slid off the stool and came around the island. She stopped in front of Ava, staring up at her. "Does that mean I can call you Mom?" she asked. "Not just sometimes by accident." Ava's hand flew to her mouth. Her eyes filled so fast it startled Noah. "If you want to," she said, voice rough. "If that feels right to you." "It does," Lily said. She launched herself forward, arms tight around Ava's waist. "I already did in my head." Ava folded herself around her, bending down, face pressed into Lily's hair. Her shoulders shook once. Lily held on. Noah stepped closer, wrapping his arms around both of them. For a moment, they were just a tangle of limbs and breath and shared warmth in a kitchen that smelled faintly of the last batch of coffee. Lily's voice emerged slightly muffled against Ava's sweater. "So," she said, "if this is forever now, can we get a dog?" Noah laughed, the sound spilling out of him. "A dog?" he asked. "That is your first question." "Every real family has a dog," Lily said, pulling back enough to look between them. "It is a rule." Ava wiped under her eyes with 2 fingers and actually smiled. "We can talk about a dog," she said. "No promises about size or drool levels." Lily seemed satisfied. "Good," she said. "I already picked a name." She scampered off to her room to draw a picture of the imaginary dog, leaving 2 adults in the kitchen, surrounded by torn contracts and the echo of a child's certainty. Ava reached for Noah's hand. Their fingers laced together easily now, the shape familiar. In the reflection on the glass, he could see them standing side by side, hands joined, the city blurred behind them. No scripts, no timelines, just the outlines of something they had chosen, still soft, still forming, held together by their grip. Saturday morning smelled like butter and burnt sugar. Noah stood at the stove watching pancake batter bubble in the pan. The first batch had come out oddly shaped, one of them in a lopsided heart, that Lily had claimed immediately. The second batch looked better. Practice did that. A furry shape sat at his feet, tail sweeping the floor with slow, hopeful thumps. "That is not for you," Noah told the dog. The dog licked his ankle and looked up, all brown eyes and floppy ears. "She is very persuasive," Ava said from the table. She sat with one leg folded under her, wearing a faded college sweatshirt Noah had never seen outside the penthouse. Her hair was loose. A mug of coffee steamed in front of her. She smelled like sleep and cinnamon. Lily sat across from her in pajamas, patterned with stars, fork in hand. A smear of syrup glistened on her chin. "Can Luna have just a little bit?" Lily asked. She helped me wait. "No pancakes for dogs," Ava said. "We talked about this." "She is a member of the family," Lily said. "Members get breakfast." The dog, officially named Luna after a heated debate that included Spark Rocket and Captain Biscuit, wagged harder at the word breakfast. "She eats her own breakfast," Noah said, "which is in her bowl." He flipped the pancake. Luna tracked the motion head, tilting like she was following a tennis match. Lily rested her chin on her hand. "Every real family has a dog," she said thoughtfully. "But not every dog has a real family." Ava blinked. "That is unreasonably wise for 8:18 on a Saturday," she said. Lily grinned, pleased with herself. When Noah set the next plate on the table, Luna gave up on subtlety and tried to climb onto his knee. He nudged her gently, but she managed to press her nose to his thigh anyway, as if proximity might make syrup appear. "She likes you best," Lily said. "She likes whoever has food," Noah said. He sat. For a moment he just looked at them. The two faces on either side of the table, the dog sliding carefully under Ava's chair, the light from the high windows turning the syrup into amber. Scenes like this still surprised him. The ordinariness felt like a gift that kept unwrapping. After breakfast, Lily and Luna chased each other down the hall, nails clicking on the wood, shrieks and barks echoing. A framed photo tilted on the wall. As they rushed past, then straightened, when Luna bumped it the other way. The photo showed the three of them at Discovery Park, hair blown by the wind, Lily on Noah's shoulders, Ava's arm wrapped around his waist. Rosa had taken it on her last visit. Noah rinsed plates in the sink. Ava dried, handing them up to the cabinet. "How does it feel?" he asked, "not having to talk to Monica every other day?" She considered. "Quiet," she said. "Suspicious." "She will find more people to terrify," he said. "You trained her well." "I did not train her," Ava said. "She came fully calibrated." The faucet hissed. Suds slid down the drain. When the last plate was stacked, she turned and leaned back against the counter, drying her hands on the towel. "The scholarship papers went through," she said. "Legal sent me the confirmation last night." "Already?" he asked. "Apparently the state likes free money," she said. He pictured the name again printed in clean letters at the top of the document. Miguel Alvarez Memorial Scholarship. "Rosa knows?" he asked. "I called her," Ava said. "She cried. Then she told me to stop apologizing and start recruiting applicants." "You listened to her?" he said. "I am learning," she said. He stepped closer, towel dangling from her hand between them. "You do not have to fix everything," he said. "I know," she said. "I just want to fix what I can reach." He touched her wrist lightly. Her skin was warm from the dishwater. She looked up at him, eyes soft in a way boardrooms never saw. Lily barreled back in, skidding to a stop when she saw them. "You," she said reflexively, even though they were standing a respectable distance apart. "You started this," Noah told her, "with the pretend marriage." "It is not pretend," she said. "It is real." She said it the way she might say the sky was there or Luna's fur was soft. A fact. Noah reached out and caught her as she tried to slip past, pulling her into a hug that made her squeal. "Homework," he said. "Then park." "Homework on Saturday is illegal," she said into his shirt. "You can report me later," he said. A few hours later, in a different part of the building, he stood in front of a group of custodial staff in a windowless meeting room. The air smelled like coffee that had been on the warmer too long. A whiteboard behind him still carried faint traces of an old diagram about fire exits. He looked around at faces he knew well. Jerome, who had worked nights even longer than Noah. Dina, who sang under her breath when she cleaned. Marco, who joked about living in the elevator. They sat in folding chairs, some in uniform, some in street clothes, all with the same skeptical curiosity. "So they made you the boss," Jerome said. "Now you get to give us bad news in a nicer shirt." There were chuckles around the room. "I still own the same amount of shirts," Noah said. "They are just cleaner now." He took a breath. "This is not bad news," he said. "At least I do not think so." He told them about the scholarship program, about who it was for, what it covered, how many students each year. He held up the printed flyer with the logo at the bottom and the name at the top. "This is for kids whose parents keep this place running," he said, "for first-generation college students, for people who look at tuition and think it is a mountain they cannot climb." He watched their faces as he spoke, the widening eyes. the quick flickers of hope trying not to look like hope. "It is not a lottery," he said. "There are essays, grades, work, but it is real. Applications open next month." Jerome raised a hand. "So, my girl could apply," he said slowly. "Shanice. She wants to study engineering. I have been trying to tell her to pick something cheaper." "She can absolutely apply," Noah said. "Tell her to. I will help her with the forms if she wants." Dina sniffed, dabbing at her eyes. "No one ever set something like this up for us," she said. "They give free pizza sometimes, not college." "It was Ava's idea," Noah said. "But she will tell everyone I talked her into it, so I am taking partial credit." He felt the words as he said them. His wife's idea. The phrase sat in his mouth like something solid. He watched the realization settle in the room. These were people who knew his old badge number, who had seen him mop floors and unblock drains. Now he stood at the front with a stack of flyers and a say in who got to be part of a different story. When the meeting broke, Jerome came up and clasped his hand. "You did good, Cruz," he said, voice thick. "Your girl is going to see some things." "So is yours," Noah said. In the main atrium later that week, a banner hung from the second-level railing. Miguel Alvarez Scholarship Launch. The company had arranged a small event, nothing flashy. A few rows of chairs, a podium, some cameras for internal communications. Noah stood in the back with Lily and Luna. The dog wore a Zenith bandana around her neck, a joke from HR that Lily had declared official uniform. Ava stepped up to the microphone. She wore a dark dress, but her hands were bare. No stack of note cards. No teleprompter. Her voice carried in the high space. "When we talk about opportunity in this building," she said, "we often talk about the products we build, the tools, the platforms, but there are stories underneath that." She glanced toward Rosa, who sat in the front row beside Monica. Rosa wore her oldest son's old suit jacket over a floral dress. Her hands were folded tight in her lap. "8 years ago," Ava said, "a young man named Miguel Alvarez died because of choices my family made. I have spent a long time pretending that if I did not say his name, it would hurt less." She let the quiet stretch. "It does not," she said. "Silence never does." The murmuring in the atrium stilled. "So, today," she continued, "we start something in his name instead of hiding from it. This scholarship is for students who want to build like Miguel did, for families who have worked in buildings like this, often unseen." She nodded toward the cluster of custodial staff to one side. Noah saw Jerome's straightened eyes shining. "This does not balance anything," Ava said. "It is not supposed to. It is just one more open door." She stepped back. The applause rose low at first, then stronger. Rosa stood for a moment, clapping, tears on her cheeks. When the crowd dwindled, Ava walked down from the podium. Rosa met her halfway. "You said his name," Rosa said. "I will keep saying it," Ava replied. Rosa squeezed her hand. "Good," she said. He liked attention. Later in the elevator on the way up, Lily bounced slightly on her toes. "You talked about Miguel," she said. "He was the boy from the picture." "Yes," Ava said. "You looked scared," Lily said. "But you did it anyway." Ava thought about that for a second. "I was scared," she said. "Doing it anyway is sometimes the only way things move." Lily nodded solemnly, as if adding that to a list in her head. At home that night, the three of them sprawled on the living room floor, among forts made of cushions and one shredded dog toy. A movie flickered on the television, muted for the moment. Outside, Seattle glowed against the dark, the windows catching reflections of furniture and faces. Luna lay on her back, all four paws in the air, snoring faintly. Lily squinted at a homework sheet spread out in front of her. "What is a metaphor again?" she asked. "A comparison," Noah said. "Like when you say the city is a blanket of lights." "That is a simile," Ava added. "You used like. Lily groaned. "Why did you marry two nerds?" she said. "My life is very hard." "You married into it," Noah said. "Too late now." He read the next question over her shoulder. "Write 3 metaphors for home," he read aloud. Lily chewed on her pencil eraser. "Home is a castle," she said. "No, that is boring. Everyone says that." She looked around. "Home is the sky," she said slowly. "Because we are high up and I can see everything." "That is one," Noah said. "Home is a cookie," she continued, more confident. "Because it changes in the oven, but it still tastes good." Ava blinked. "I did not teach her that," she said. "Maybe she taught us," Noah said. Lily kept going. "Home is," she said, then pause. A small line appeared between her eyebrows. "Home is your hands," she said, "both of you, because when you hold me, I feel like a person and not a suitcase." Noah's throat tightened. Ava reached out and pulled Lily gently into her lap. You are never a suitcase, she said. I know, Lily said. That is why I wrote it. She wiggled free again and scribbled on the paper, tongue peeking out in concentration. On the TV, the paused image showed a cartoon volcano mid-eruption. Luna snorted in her sleep. Rain started against the glass light at first, then steadier. Noah watched the patterns on the window, the way the drops slid down, leaving temporary streaks that vanished as more followed. There would be marks to wipe later, but for now the blur softened the city into shapes and color. He felt Ava's hand find his fingers weaving through the familiar spaces. He turned his palm to meet hers. They had started with contracts and lies, and the urgent need not to lose everything. The marble floors, the glass walls, the careful narratives. The heat of crisis had pushed against all of it, warping plans, exposing fault lines, turning intentions into something else. Some stains had settled, some had been scrubbed until only a shadow remained. Others stayed visible reminders rather than wounds. In the reflection on the window, he saw 3 figures sitting on the floor, with a sleeping dog and a half-finished fort. Lily looked up from her worksheet. Can I write one more? She asked. How many do you need? Ava said. Only 3, Lily said. But I want 4. Go ahead, Noah says. Lily tapped her pencil against the paper. Home is this, she said, right now. She wrote it down, even though she could not quite catch all of what she meant. The oven timer beeped from the kitchen they had forgotten about. Another batch of cookies, experiment number who knew, ready to come out. The smell reached them a second later, warm and sweet and a little uneven. Noah stood bringing their hands with him and pulled Ava up too. Lily scrambled after them, Luna waking with a happy bark at the prospect of crumbs. They crossed the room together, feet soft on the floor, the city at their backs and the kitchen light in front of them, into the small heat and simple work of taking something out of the fire and letting it cool enough to share. Her fingers brushed his again as they began to clear the table. This time, the contact was not part of a performance. It was an accident they did not rush to correct. Thank you so much for listening to today's story. If this story resonated with you or made you reflect, I'd love to hear your thoughts, so feel free to share them in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss the next story.